most covert assignment to date. The time has come to pull the threads on the tapestry woven at the peak. Move swiftly and leave no trace. The descent must be graceful but inevitable. Those who ascended have forgotten the lessons of the climb. They believe their position is unassailable. Remind them that all heights are temporary. As a trusted member of our clandestine association, you are uniquely positioned to execute this mission. To ensure the fall is as precise as the rise was swift. Initiate the sequence. All eyes are on you. The summit has been reached. The order has tipped into an unsustainable balance. Your role is to recalibrate the equilibrium. The clock is ticking. Proceed with caution. He reacted the way he did. You go ahead. Be aware, there are eyes everywhere, but none that can see the true nature of your mission. Trust your instincts. Begin the mission.
Scattered in the sky, streaks of color begin tracing the lines to roads we're facing. I stare into reflections. With new resolve found, a battleground takes form. And that long last countdown now. Steady brush in your hands. The shots diverge. A sudden surge of power courses through my veins. Now we'll win the fight. A blast of light shines brightly on a stage I'll conquer tonight.
Good afternoon, Splatters, and welcome to the Squid Advanced Circuit. The oft-forgotten middle child of the Splatoon competitive scene is having its day in the sun today as we conclude Season 10 with a massive broadcast across 4 different channels. Here at Under Pressure, we're going to help make sure that this tremendous event gets in front of as many eyes as possible. Because, let's be honest, these players deserve the recognition. My name is SofaKing, your couch surfing ride or die on the mic. And who's that over there who I'm commentating with today?
And I'm Frostix, the chillest commentator this end of the scene. And finally, I am a visual.
I am glad to see it for sure, because I remember when we were doing our last one, it was a little bit tough to see over there. But I mean, are you stoked for this, Frostix? We've been watching this for so long. Are there any players that you're interested to see today?
If I'm being honest, I do have... Okay, remember when we were on a couple weeks ago, Sofa, and we were talking about putting all of our life savings onto a certain team?
Yes.
You know, for me, I've been seeing a lot of Distinkt lately, and, you know, I still feel like there's a lot more fight in them. And there they are, see?
Yeah, I would have to agree with you. I think that Distinkt has the names, and you know what else they have, Frostix, is they have the record to show that they can go far in this tournament. They're our number 5 seed. Do you think they can win the whole thing?
Oh man, considering how much I think they've been on a hot streak, not only within the several qualifiers they've played in, like looking at our very expansive commentary document, they are a returning finalist from Season 9. They placed second in 2 out of the 3 qualifiers they played. And, you know, they're 1-for-1 with Passione, who beat them in the qualifier 4 finals in the circuit as well here. And not just that, they've been grinding on so many weekly tournaments here. But I wouldn't also count out Rule of 4 as well.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Rule of 4 is the 12 seed. You could say that they're kind of squeaking into this qualifier. They did not appear in gold bracket. They won 2 silver brackets, though. But Frostix, these are players that we know. That just speaks to how high of a bar SAC is. I mean, Rice, Kronos, Westy, Nerd, that's a stacked team. You can never count anybody out at this level of play.
Yeah, you know, call them the Fantastic Four here. They've got the skills, they've got the records to show that they have the means to stay potentially within the final stage of SAC.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it could be anybody's given day to get hot, right? But, like you said, on the topic of Distinkt, whichever team wins this 5-12 matchup is going to be going head-to-head against Passione, who gets a bye due to that 4th seed. And Distinkt, you got to be thinking they're looking for a rematch.
Oh, definitely so. They definitely want that run back, especially after what happened in those qualifier games. So, the first game of this best of 5 set will be Robo Ramen zones. It's a very traditional bowl of ramen to open up our first match of this stream. And if you're noticing this, not just people in chat, but Sofa as well, these other 4 maps are total enigmas.
Oh, completely. I mean, what do you think about that? I kind of like that. At this level, having counter picks from round 1, that's kind of neat. And I think we're going to learn a lot about how these teams operate by seeing what they pick.
Ooh, and we have no more time left to analyze as we dive into game 1. What are we seeing? Already, Rafa is bringing back the new Dreadringer. Same thing with Mooj on the new Stringer here. I saw them bring that out in Triton Cup exactly yesterday.
I love that. Is that the horns and the bulbs? Are those the 2 names? I don't quite know.
Horns and bulbs,
But Kronos on that tent is going to be a powerful presence either way. Distinkt, though, taking the early zone.
Yeah, definitely so. Already taking that early cap. We're seeing Rafa having that crab ready to go as well. Are they going to execute a forward crab onto elbow here, firing off onto Nerd, onto Wasty, onto Kronos here, forcing them to be staggered here as Distinkt is getting close to getting half of their points already gone.
Look at this, though. This is a massive push from Rice. Trying to get one, is going to get chipped by that Jet, though. Slightly losing numbers is Distinkt. They do get Nerd, though, to equalize it out. The Roller trying to keep this zone covered. And, I mean, oh my gosh, if you're rule of 4, you've got to try and get a counter push at some point.
I think that counter push is already happening with Rice and Kronos taking the storm. Nerd is also approaching here. Zone is in neutral. Rule of 4 definitely needs to get a flip going here because Distinkt is already almost out of the 30s here. They're canceling Rafa's crab here, and they will flip the zone, applying 51 penalty points to Distinkt.
I like Tiger's patience there to get the pick, but then to not do too much, knowing that they were still in disset here, and you've got the bubble ready to pay off for it. Now, you've got the Zuka coming out as well, versus Rice's crab is going to try and push it away. Will be able to get it away from that zone there, but everybody else crashing in from Distinkt. Tiger is going to trade one up front, but oh my gosh, no, Rule of 4 retains control, and they're going to have a chance to take back this lead if they can get the zone back.
Yeah, they have a very strong numbers advantage already, and they're already occupying that elbow with Kronos going down, though, here. That would be a little bit crucial. We're also seeing Mooj up above with that new Inkjet with the Stringer kit, and they already flipped the zone just before Rule of 4 ties it up. Kronos is right back on the scene with that Nerd and the rest of Rule of 4 lying in wait. The Zuka's trying to find some targets, not claiming anyone just yet. The zone has gone into neutral with Nerd and Rice taking the front. It's a crab off right now, and Rafa's crab is getting cancelled. Rice's crab is still firing off onto elbow. Zone is back into neutral. Who will it be flipped by? It's Rule of 4.
And Rule of 4 comes forward again as we're getting into a really back and forth portion of the game here. That bubble from Nerd is going to be crucial, but do they see the Roller slipping by? Tiger will get Nerd instead. Tiger, I think, is still haunting around the bottom of your screen as Distinkt will rush in and cap the zone. Tiger goes down, but holding off Rule of 4 once again.
Definitely so here. They're still holding that very strong lead. 34-48. Rice's crab is coming out again. This will definitely last longer than Rafa's crab. But with this Zuka coming out from Distinkt, it could prove dicey. Zone is in neutral, but it's still being held by Distinkt. Their hold game is very strong. Gorilla grip indeed.
This could be it as they're working towards the knockout, but the shooter will go down up front, giving Rule of 4 one last opening here. You see Kronos kind of trying to come around from that flank. Nerd with a huge bubble. That will get them the flip back of the zone. Another chance here, but they've got to find the next pick. Instead, Nerd go down. Tiger coming down to contest this crab. Rice's crab is going to get popped, forced to run back. Rule of 4 loses numbers again, but they're still in this one.
Yeah, there's going to be around 1 minute, 30 seconds left for Rule of 4 to take this back. But Distinkt is already starting to move up into Rule of 4's territory. Tiger is just trying to find the right opportunity to start going in. Mooj as well as Afro are holding down the line. We're seeing Rafa try to get some off angles with this Red Ringer. The Zuka's coming out from Kronos. Nerd is trying to move in. Nerd's going down. Kronos and Rice are held off at elbow. And Distinkt is counting down once more. They're in the 10s. They're going to be in the single digits soon.
Oh my gosh, Nerd is able to pop that crab and force them backwards. Never giving up is rule of 4, which is really cool to see. Afro does not have special ready. No specials ready for the side of Distinkt. They're going to need to get something online. The Tri-Stringer does have one on now, which is going to be a nice inkjet to come in. Through their penalty points is rule of 4. Frostix, oh my gosh, one will go down. Distinkt could flip this back.
Yeah, definitely so with Tiger's bubble providing them an easy shield to flip the zone once more. Afro Zuka putting on a little bit more pressure onto Kronos in this isolated duel. Rice will be going down long range here, and that pencil is looking like the only one left on the scene to try and stop Distinkt here because they're almost out of their penalty points. There's 15 seconds left on the clock here. Distinkt looks to be having this in the bag here, but Nerd has another bubble ready to go. Same thing with the crab on the side of rule of 4. It is flipped once more by rule of 4.
Oh my gosh, but the roller's going to go down to their own bubble, as well as the pencil. And now Rafa using that crab to try and get in. Afro forced off the zone. The zone neutralizes, and Distinkt is going to take game 1.
And that was a amazing opening from both of these teams here. A really solid back and forth conversation from both Distinkt and Rule of 4. Wow. What's the next map?
Yeah, wow is right. Oh my gosh. I mean, you said it best when this game was like a conversation. And most Zones games are, I think. But kind of thinking ahead to game number 2, I feel like Rule of 4 was so competitive in that one, Frostix. What do you think their surefire counterpick is?
Their surefire counterpick in terms of a map here, that's like... that could be anything, really. Like, the amount of, like, modes they could play. I think specifically with their comp with Tent, I'd imagine that they'd want to go to a Rainmaker map with some really tight close quarter scenarios. I'm thinking like Undertow and maybe Museum.
I like both of those options. Undertow for sure. I mean, I'm always an Undertow stan. I'm taking a look at the map list to see what other choices. I mean, Rainmaker Scorch would be nice, but we're remaining on zones with Mahi. I guess Rule of 4 is thinking, hey, that one was so close. That's a 50-50 coin flip. I think we can win the next one.
I mean, definitely so here. If you've heard, I think another caster on this amazing, massive list of casters on SAC, Pat, he specifically cites that Mahi Resort on zones, specifically after the water level drops, may be one of the best maps to play on zones. And it just provides so much skill expression with how the map is laid out and with how so much weapons can interact with this map.
Yeah, I would have to agree. And I mean, if we're taking a look at these new weapons that some people are bringing out, I think that could be the key to zones as well. We're seeing an Inkjet bow. We're seeing a Dread with Crab. I think that's going to allow this Distinkt team to be a little more aggressive to maintain this. And we see the new shot come out with Burst and Kraken as well.
Uh-oh, that's going to be something to worry about. If you are Rule of 4, they're still sticking with their guns. Westy on the pencil. We're seeing the crab, the roller, and the tent here. But Distinkt are already opening the conversation with an immediate zone cap. And their paint output, I fear, is going to be really deadly here. The Dread, the Stringer, and of course that shielded paint coming from that roller from Tiger.
Yeah, this is powerful work for sure. And especially since, I mean, look, Afro is being aggro yet again and is diving in. Westy is trying to scramble back as the tent will go down. Westy is going to get a nice pick there. Has to back up to Muj's Inkjet, though. And still, I mean, if you're trading, despite having this zone early on, you got to think that's playing to Distinkt's favor.
Definitely so here. And one thing I wanted to note was that for a little while, the water level has not dropped yet. But with Distinkt finally reaching that 60-point threshold, the water level is dropping. Now everything is one-way drop going forward. Now we're seeing a all-out brawl to see who can flip the pancake first, and that pancake will be flipped by Rule of 4, who is also claiming a man advantage with 2 members of Distinkt going down.
All right, and back in it is Rule of 4. As we saw, that last game was so back and forth, we anticipate the same is going to happen. Tiger getting one, Westy getting another out of the sky, and Rule of 4 will get a nice wipeout. They're going to be setting up in a lockout position here with Bubble at the ready. Now, Frostix, what is the best way to lock a team out on Mahi?
Oh, of course, just block out their entranceway, just all one-way drops. And with the bubble that that Nerd is sporting here, that could just be all that Rule of 4 needs. But here comes Afro, the Kraken has been unleashed on Rice, but Rice is going to be able to jump out in the nick of time. Zone has gone into neutral, but Rule of 4 is covering his case very effectively. It is going to be flipped though by Distinkt here, and Rice is scrambling here. They're back into a corner by Rafa, by Tiger, and Tiger's going to get the jump onto Rice.
Picks upon picks. It is just trades upon trades. This looks pretty much exactly how the last one looked, except Rule of 4 has the slight lead in this one. We see ever more blue creeping across this map. 2 members of Rule of 4 are diving in. That's going to be Nerd, Rice, and now joined by Kronos. Everybody piling up on this left-hand side. Now, is that the right move, Frosty?
I mean, well, using that 10 shield to get Nerd in to pop the bubble for that flip, genius synergy right there, I will say here, but it just depends on how they can continue this hold, because Distinkt was deadly close to taking back that lead, 35-32. It's only 3 points away. Moosh has the inkjet ready to go. Afro has popped the Kraken once more. Zone is in neutral, but Rule 4 is holding down this case very effectively. But Kronos has gone down. There's a lot of defense being lost from Rule of 4, as now the zone is being capped by Distinkt once more. But there's 3 members down though.
Yeah, that is a crazy trade to get, especially when you're trying to run through this penalty. Now we see Rafa and Kronos in a huge fight in the corner. Rafa's going to try and chase Kronos away, now engaged with Rice, and Rice is going to pick them. 2v2 on either side. Rule of 4 will stack that penalty back onto Distinkt, and we're getting towards the end of this one. Still anybody's game.
Exactly right now. Here comes Rice with the crab tank here. There's already 2 members down on Distinkt. They're keeping them out of mid, not giving them a glimpse of the amount of orange they're painting this map here. Already, Nerd, no, not Nerd, but Kronos has a Zuka. Nerd getting a sneaky pick onto Rafa. Once again, 2 members down. Rule of 4 making sure that they have the numbers advantage, and they're out of their penalty points. They're counting down. Mooj is trying to strike from above with this inkjet, but I think Rule of 4 has finally discovered the anti-aerial artillery.
You love to see it. Westy, I think, has been the MVP with that anti-air, and I think it is going to even up this series. Westy picking that jet repeatedly. Rule of 4 knew that, hey, maybe Mahi is a little bit better for them than Robo Ramen, and it has granted them a dub. We are going to be moving on to Game 3.
Yeah, exactly here. The conversation continues. It's a back and forth banter here from both teams here, and finally the Rule of 4 picking up from what happened to them in Robo Ramen here. They're understanding that Distinkt is, of course, running a pivotal special like Inkjet. So, of course, Westies is shifting their aim skywards to deal with Mooj whenever they're up above here. They're also making sure that, I guess, something like Rafa can't get their crab up often here, and they're just making sure they can steer away from Afro whenever they pop the Kraken as well, because of you've heard this from me all the time, Sofa, but that demands a lot of presence.
Yes. Oh my gosh, yes. Especially on that weapon, it just becomes like the king of survivability with a shot as its base, a burst, and a Kraken. Insane. To that end, though, I think one thing we saw in that game, we were kind of saying like, oh, well, all of these members of Rule of 4 are lining up on one side. Is that a bad move? Not necessarily, because the mistake that Distinkt made there was often sending Afro or the roller in on aggro by themselves, like trying to aim for these trades. But if you've got like a tent, a roller, everything from Rule of 4 coming at you at once, those aren't going to be trades anymore.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's what allowed Rule of 4 to constantly have the numbers advantage, playing their name to a T, ensuring that they constantly had the Rule of 4.
I like that. The synergy from that being their name into their play style there. But on the other hand, I mean, Distinkt is just set on those interesting weapons, set on playing coolerless. But if you are going to be playing coolerless, you've got to see a little bit more team play. What do you think they pick here to facilitate that?
Wow. When it comes to just playing around the team play, I think it just depends really here, because I think I've just constantly been seeing Mooj on this new bulb stringer here. Of course, I wouldn't doubt that Mooj still has it with those past tri-stringer kits. Of course, V-stringer and the other one, the one with chumps and the one with whale.
Who knows what they're called?
Yeah.
I kind of feel you, though. I mean, the bulbs is interesting, right? Because you can take it or leave it with the angle shooter. I personally don't really like it. But the inkjet, as long as you don't have a Westie on the other side, that could be a way to get in. Tower control on Hagglefish. Do you think this is the answer that Distinkt is looking for?
I mean, well, every single caster I know has a very distinct, no pun intended, nickname for this map. Sasu calls this the Great Equalizer. Topic calls this an icebreaker. Pat calls this Final Destination, and I call this the straightest map that isn't Hammerhead Bridge. So, you've got a lot of options on this map, and I think Distinkt could play this really interestingly here. It's like you said, they were willing to send Afro and Tiger on the flanks here, and I feel like they could get a lot more done here as long as they can secure that pressure and the momentum of the game here. And over the course of this match, we've been seeing, like, you know, a clash of rollers.
Oh, definitely, and we're going to show you an inside look at that clash of rollers after this game. But for now, we're loading up game number 3. We see a Forge Pro coming out from Rafa, kind of going back to some more traditional weapons. But on the other hand, we have the brand new Stamper coming out from Rule of 4.
Yeah,
and I believe that thing has Booyah Bomb, perfect for tower.
Yeah, it's going to be really good for just warding Distinkt members off of the tower, but there it is! Afro is going down on the side lane, securing 2 members down of Rule of 4 for Distinkt here, and Mooj is already sitting themselves onto that tower, cruising to that first checkpoint. Now it just depends on how Rule of 4 can just drive not Rule of 4, but Distinkt, how they can drive Rule of 4 further into their own spawn.
Yeah, I mean, if that Afro aggro, if that's humming, then all of Distinkt, everything's going right for them. As we see the crab being kind of forced off here, getting a nice chip, and now the Booyah is almost going to be cracked open. Not quite that Forge Pro. Oh, the bubble coming in to try and secure this checkpoint. What a huge bubble from Tiger, who is roaring, getting yet another pick here. Tiger just soloing this tower, grinding it to 23 Frostix. That was insane.
They don't call Tiger the king of the jungle for nothing, being able to take Distinkt to 23. Such a strong opening push, and Distinkt is still going with a Forge Pro Booyah Bomb being sent straight to Rule of 4 spawn, getting rid of Nerd. That's no bubble for Rule of 4, and Mooj has another inkjet ready to go here. You want to look up in the sky. Is it a bird? Is it a plane? It may be Mooj.
It could certainly be. And you know that Mooj is loving having a little bit of that aggro, because like we said, Whale and Chumps, you ain't doing anything too fun with those, but Inkjet, you're letting Mooj off the leash a little bit, and so far, that's made them extremely competent. Now, Afro on that Zuka, which do you like Afro better on, the Zook or the Kraken?
That is genuinely interesting, because both of those ladder shot kits are deviously known for how versatile they are. Zuka can just wreak so much havoc, but so can Kraken, and you already mentioned that Kraken has so much survivability here. And speaking of survivability, unfortunately, Afro will be going down, but Tiger, once again, single-handedly taking tower, but Nerd has something to say about it, intercepting Tiger's advance, shutting them down here. That being said, we're almost halfway into this match, Sofa, and Rule of 4 hasn't really broken out of mid.
Nice job by the Sticker Stamper to get a pick there. But like you said, I mean, Distinkt clearly picked this one for a reason. They're very competent on this map. They've still been able to maintain numbers most of the time, and Nerd is grabbing tower despite them being down 1. Them and Rice getting the jump in. Do they see this flank from Afro along the right-hand side? Moving in with the Booyah, trying to go in on the crab, but countered by the bubble there. Afro will go down, but oh my gosh, Rafa crashes in on the other side, is going to get a double, and Distinkt is pushing again with a bubble at the ready.
That being said, Rule of 4 has a Booyah. This could potentially shut down whatever Tiger is aiming to do here. And here comes that Booyah Bomb from the Stamper, getting rid of not just Tiger, but Afro as well. There are 3 members down on Distinkt. Rule of 4 is striking back with a vengeance here. Can they finally see the light of day, or more so the light of a Hagglefish past mid?
Yeah, the defense is cooking lately for Rule of 4, but offensively, they have to break out of here. Afro, again, is coming from behind. Is it going to be able to pick Westie Westy, but turns the crab. Afro scampering back now, and look at this, Tiger up front too will go down. Rule of 4 though wins those fights. The Booyah stopping the tower, but now it's just the bow, and Rule of 4 finally is scoring points with less than 90 seconds to go.
Exactly, Rule of 4 needs to start upping the ante to the maximum here. Westy will immediately pop the cooler to juice up Rule of 4 for the fight to come. Here comes Tiger with the intercept, getting 2 before going down. The damage has been dealt here, and Muja's Inkjet is spelling the end for this push for Rule of 4.
Wow. I can't wait to show you guys some roller stats after this one, because Tiger is popping off. Now has to play defense as Kronos rushes in. Is going to pop Booyah. Nerd is going to get Tiger instead, as Rule of 4 ain't given up yet. They're saying, hey, we've got the offense together now. We're going to try another push. You've got the crab coming out from Rice. You've got the sticker stamper loading up on this right-hand side exactly where you want it to be. This is going to be a crucial bit of positioning here. Rafa trying to work in on it as this checkpoint has to be cleared. You really hope you can get a bubble, but no. Zuko pick on Westy. Tiger comes up to get another. It is all collapsing for Rule of 4.
And now Distinkt is trying to play the Rule of 4 game against the aptly named team here, ensuring that they constantly have the numbers advantage here. There's going to be around 15 seconds left for Rule of 4 to take the tower and then send it off in overtime here. They are on the tower. Tiger is lying in wait for the ambush here. Rule of 4 is trying to spot them out here. Kronos is going to go down in a trade with Tiger here. There is still a Booyah Bomb ready from the Forge Pro. There's 2 members down, 3 members down. On Rule of 4, it's only Westy left here, but then off the tower, the Booyah Bomb from the Forge Pro will spell the end of Rule of 4 on Hagglefish Market.
Wow, oh wow. Distinkt was dominant throughout most of that game, and Rule of 4 showed some fight towards the end, but they just could not quite get as good of a push. And based on how good Rule of 4's defense was after Distinkt's initial push, I mean, Frostix, I would venture to say that the MVP of that set was, yes, this first sustained bubble by Tiger up to 23. If that hadn't happened, Rule of 4 might win that game.
Yeah, exactly here. It allowed Distinkt to have that tower very far into Rule of 4's territory, which just allowed them to keep pushing it. It kept the tower on Rule of 4's side of the map for a good chunk of the match here, and it just allowed Distinkt to play a little bit more comfortably on the defense and put Rule of 4 within a little bit of a panic mode. Even still, Rule of 4 were able to cinch out at least a score very, very close to Distinkt here. I think the final score 77-66. It was really deadly close, and like you were saying, the MVP, Tiger, just being both sword and shield for Distinkt.
And you know what's been the story of this close set, folks, which is often the case with close comps, is the roller v roller duel of Tiger and Nerd. Now let's take a look at some special stats about how these teams have been doing, in particular with these roller players. I mean, take a look at this. Everything so far is turning up in Tiger's favor as far as KDR. Nerd is more so the bubble grinder, though. Which roller role do you think is more important, Frostix, Slayer or support?
I think it just really depends on the mode here. I think when it comes to tower, I feel like support would make more sense. That way you could get a little bit more bubbles going for your pushes, but it also really just helps to have that roller in position to intercept tower counter pushes. And that's what Tiger was doing really effectively. But then when it comes to support, we saw Nerd do that in spades. We saw them do that in zones both times around here.
Yeah, agreed. They are kind of playing it 2 different ways, which is cool because, I mean, this game has a boatload of weapons and each of them can be done so differently. It's just really cool to see. Like for Tiger, that KDR is probably so high because they're getting all the picks that Afro is funneling towards them from that aggro. Meanwhile, like you said, Nerd is just getting in that rock-solid positioning and giving these just MVP-level bubbles.
Yeah, definitely. It allows Rule of 4 to have that staying power that we saw specifically within Mahi Mahi. It allowed players like, say, Westy or Kronos to just stay and like constantly exert pressure with the weapons that they're running, with Westy on the pencil and Kronos and TC on the Stamper, and Rule of the Mahi match on, I think it was Crab that Splash that Kronos was on.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. Now let's look towards game 4, Frostix, because this is suddenly game point for Distinkt, and I don't know that I agree with this counter pick. You're going back to tower control. Granted, most of the game looked pretty good for you, but I feel like you're playing with fire on match point here if you're Rule of 4.
Yeah, definitely so here, especially on Lockout Central.
Yeah.
We'll just have to see.
Now, I'll be curious to see what kind of comp changes we see because, hey, these players have been switching all the time, which I like. We see going back to the Forge Pro, so this is the tower comp we saw earlier. Yeah, I mean, I think this could be the winning recipe for Distinkt as long as Tiger continues doing Tiger things.
Yeah, meanwhile, Chronos switching from Stamper to the return of Tense. That's what I meant earlier. But already, Afro, right off the bat, getting rid of Nerd and Rice as well here. Chronos managing to get a pot shot onto Rafa here, but they're getting outnumbered by the storm that is Afro.
Wow, yeah, long wipe for them early on. I mean, if it ain't going to be Rafa getting you, it's Afro from the other angle, which we saw there. So Rice's Crab's going to immediately get bombed, giving a distraction for Nerd, who's going to come in, playing a Slayer by themselves. They must have been upset that we called them a support because they came in with a huge double. Mooj now is kind of caught underneath this tent here, and it's going to be all Rule of 4 on the defense. 33 ain't quite 23. It's not the same on this map, Frostix. This is still anybody's game.
It is still anyone's game, especially considering Rule of 4 managed to flush the rest of Distinkt out of mid here. They're managing to keep good control over those choke points here, but Chronos will be going down to Afrozuka once again. Nerd has popped the bubble to potentially block off any more members of Distinkt from getting more shots onto Westy here. They will be able to get the first checkpoint here, but Chronos going down to an unfortunate bomb could be testy.
Yeah, look at this. Rafa working in on Westy at the top of your screen, and Chronos, having been picked on the previous jump, is going to live there. Rice, though, trading out with a bomb. Chronos v Rafa. Oh, it's going to get picked by Rafa again, who's been stunting on this tent all game, and 70 is all that Rule of 4 is going to get. Their lack of offense on tower Frostix could cost them with this counter pick.
Definitely, they're really good at striking back and intercepting for defense, but they need to up the ante onto offense, especially when the offensive team that they have constantly been working against is Distinkt here. A bubble, a booyah, and an inkjet coming out from Distinkt, getting rid of 2 members of Rule of 4. Once again, playing the numbers advantage to a T.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, if you're Tiger on this left-hand side, again, I love this patience because you've already got the lead. You don't need to force that. Scampering away from this Zuka. Rice is going to go head-to-head, is going to lose an insane fight with Rafa, who's continuing to... a nice jump out there to try and remain safe. Tiger, though, again on the front lines with the bubble, will pick Chronos head-to-head with Nerd. It's going to snipe Nerd in the sky. Oh, my gosh. I mean, it didn't lead to much, but these picks, Frostix, have me going crazy.
And just allowing the tower to stay within Rule of 4's side of the map. It's once again what happened on a Hagglefish here. They're constantly keeping the ball in Rule of 4's court here, and they're constantly delivering the aggression here to just keep them guessing here. Rafa's moving in. They're almost at a Booyah Bomb. They're striking from these off handles, getting rid of Chronos before Westy gets rid of the Forge Pro. Here comes the Zuka, and the bubble from Distinkt is getting deadly close to this final checkpoint, and there it is! The game-ending knockout from Distinkt.
Wow. That is going to be Distinkt set as they will send Rule of 4 down into loser's bracket. Meanwhile, Distinkt moves on. And I mean, what I can't get out of my brain, Frostix, is that was Rule of 4's counterpick. I mean, they got to see in the previous game their own struggles with tower control, and yet they picked it again. I'm wondering about that. Like, are they really not confident enough in the other modes that they wanted to go tower again? I'd be curious to know the decision making around that.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting, especially considering they're running I'd say the tent with Chronos in particular here. Of course, the tent shield is very valuable and very versatile, but it can only get you so far when the tower is just so small here. I think what they were maybe trying to do is play Distinkt's game of keeping the ball in Distinkt's court. That way, they could use the weapons that they have that can control so much space. The tent, the roller, the splash with Crab, and like if they had that amount of aggression on the offense that they had in the defense, I think we could have seen a different game. But Distinkt just did it again.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I mean, here's the thing. That's not to say that Rule of 4 ain't a good team. These are great players. But Distinkt is that tiny step up, right? Where we're saying they have the results against these other mid-level teams. They've been to these gold bracket in this qualifier. They've been, finalists before. And they are proving it again here as our number 5 seed. Oh my gosh, I mean, if you're stoked for a budding rivalry matchup of Passione and Distinkt, that one is going to be on IPL, so you may want to swap over to that broadcast. We, however, are going to be going to another match. Let's take a look. I'm not sure if we have a visual of the bracket, but I can at least tell you what's going on in the rest of the tournament. We've got Trigger Happy up 2-1 over Insomniac Central. We have Ziphius up 2-0 over Stars Impact. And then Big Fat Sea Cows, fan favorite, did get a 3-1 win over Tidal Disruption. They'll be playing Unlimited Woomy here in a little bit. But thank you, Jorian, for this look. Frostix, take it away. Tell us about Afro's impact on this set.
Oh, man. Afro going nuts on those last 2 tower matches. Immediately, it's like I said, as soon as we got into that ship shape match, not just knocking down the door, but kicking down the door with 2 picks at the start of the match here. It's like no one knows where Afro is, and Afro will always be there to cause more havoc here, whether it be with the versatility that the V-Shot kit has here, or just firing off the Trizuko from no man's land. I think we saw that in the last couple seconds of Hagglefish Market when Rule of 4 was like making their advance up. Meanwhile, we see Zuka shots from Afro come from mid.
No, I know exactly what you're talking about. Because here's the thing. You could play shot a couple different ways. You could play it where it's kind of a more methodical support, making sure that paint is out, and then making sure that your Zukas are online. But playing that way comes at the risk of having more minimal impact on the game, right? Or you could play it like it's a Zuka lottery. Like you're throwing yourself aggressively at people, you're sometimes dying, but you're trying to get those doubles, trying to get those insane Zuka picks. And I love seeing Afro play that way, because that's just a way more fun way to play shot.
And not just that, we saw a glimpse of that new Splattershot kit in the hands of Afro as well here, and we just saw how deadly its potential can be here with survivability and just sheer presence alone. A burst bomb and a Kraken on a shot!
Why did they do this?
This is madness!
This is, I don't think it's as bad as the Kensa shot coming at the end of Splat 2's life, but it is still a pretty powerful shot kit being handed to us in the twilight hours of this game. But yeah, I agree. I'm seeing in the chat, SofaKing is going to be a nightmare on that thing. I agree. So if you're a low-level or even a mid-level player looking for some inspiration on how to play that weapon in an aggressive, forward-thinking way, Afro's the one to watch.
And if anything, if you are the members of Passione, look out, make sure that there is no one sharking. You do not want to be on the receiving end of an ambush from Tiger or a stray Zuka shot from Afro.
Most definitely not. That is a good way to get yourself picked and to lose the game here. So let's take a quick little break here as we're getting our next match loaded up for you. It shouldn't be too long, folks. The other set is probably wrapping up. But we've got other matches on Splat Tourney, IPL, Dapple. But if you want to see our number 1 seed, Operation Zero, you're going to want to come back here.
Yeah, we're going to be casting Operation Zero and Trigger Happy coming right up. So, SAC Season 10 Finals will be back soon. And we are finally back with more SAC Season 10 finale. I am Frostix, the chillest caster this side of the scene, and to my right is Sofa.
I like that, the chillest caster in the scene. I would agree for sure. But you know what's about to not be chill is this match, because we've got the #1 seed who's been waiting all day to play so far, Frostix. Do you think they're going to be a bit rusty coming out against #8 seed Trigger Happy, or is this Operation Zero set all day?
I mean, who's to say that Operation Zero wasn't maybe grinding out an Anarchy Open before the set started? Could be the case. Could be the case in some alternate timeline. Or, you know, they could have just been just doing some drills, running things down, making sure that they aren't just stagnant. Because it's been a pretty long wait to get round 1 finished in winner's bracket. And now we're seeing Trigger Happy Seed 8 go up against them in winner's bracket round 2.
Yeah, I mean, there's something to be said, though. It's one thing to play Anarchy Open, but you never know who you're going to get. It's another thing, though, for Trigger Happy to have already begun this tournament, to have won a set against a team that they've already had success against in Insomniac Central. They dispatched them 3-1 in round 1. Now, in qualifier number 3, they beat them 2-0. So you'd think Trigger Happy, they were happy to get that opponent and then beat them a second time, but this is a brand new team going up against a team that is about to disband. Kind of the opposite ends of the Splatoon lifespan are these two teams.
Yeah, definitely so here. And we're getting a very sick infographic courtesy of Ellie. Here's FLM, the headed player on Trigger Happy here. They also have Rapid Pro in their back pocket as well. Very interesting sets of potential backline, midline options for Trigger Happy here. We're seeing in terms of their stats a 1.84 KD, pretty solid for headed as well as potentially Rapid Pro. 4.3 special output here. That's going to be some insane coolers coming from FLM and 1092 pain. I mean, headed speaks for itself.
Oh, for sure. Those are headed numbers for sure. Now, what I'd be worried about here is the rest of the comp having enough paint, because if you switch off of that headed onto the new Rapid Pro, I think it's Winter, that also has cooler, you ain't getting those same amount of coolers, right? So the rest of the team kind of has to keep up the paint if that were to be the case.
I mean, looking over at Trigger Happy's comp here, it could be possible here. Cheap running the Zap as well as the Splash. So really, if FLM does go with the Rapid, Cheap can sub in with some frontline coolers with that Zap. But there's also Jin with a potential bucket in their back pocket, but more likely we're going to see them on S-Blast, and Haru with 2 swords at their disposal. Here is Cheap here running the S-Blast on Trigger Happy at 2.24 KD, pretty solid with that S-Blast. 5.5 specials. We're going to be potentially seeing some big Booyah Bomb and a lot more paint output.
Yeah, I mean, look at this. These stats are insane. This is what you look for in a mid-level player who's able to rotate between those roles of Slayer and Skirmisher, right? You're getting a lot of paint because you're getting a lot of uptime. You're grinding out those specials and those KDRs. Cheap is certainly going to be one of the all-star players of Trigger Happy. However, they've got a tough mountain to climb with Operation Zero, who won the very first qualifier in an insane set over Free Flow, thus qualifying for this event, and then just didn't do any other qualifiers, understandably. I mean, why would you? But there is some element of, maybe Operation Zero hasn't had enough experience against these other teams throughout these qualifiers like Trigger Happy has. As we've been saying the whole time, Frostix could be anybody's game.
Exactly here, and we saw previously on the map forecast ahead, our game 1 will be on Great City. Welcome to Crab Leg Capital here, and already off rip, I'm thinking Trigger Happy is going to have a time, of course, with Cheap on that S-Blast here, looking over to, I guess, everyone else's weapons on Operation Zero. We're seeing Forge Pro on Pancake, Snipe Rider, and potential Bamboozler from Cherry. Prince has a Zap Blaster, and Prince has the Range Blaster and the N Zap here, and Skywolf running Nautilus, but also Headed and Hydra with a wide range of shooters, being the V-Shots and the 52 Gallon.
Yeah, this will be interesting to see what they cook up here, because I kind of doubt that Cherry and Skywolf are going to be playing in a game at the same time, because you wouldn't want, it might be a bit too slow to have like a pencil and a Headed or a pencil and a Knot. The X factor, though, could be Hydra on this 52 gal. The speed of that weapon could cut through some of these players on Trigger Happy and kind of disrupt their offensive flow. But we're going to find out what weapons folks are playing. Oh, and already wrong here. Commentators Curse, Skywolf, and Cherry are going to be playing together. But Skywolf on that Rattler, that brand new mini Splatling. What do you think about that?
We talked about this before the tournament even started. That has just an amazing name, the Rattler Mini, here to wreak havoc. I think this has Zuka, if I remember correctly here. Yeah, Mini Splatling Rattler. Yeah, Zuka Beacon.
Yeah, that's a pretty dang good support option. And the H3 on the other side, Pancake will get one down immediately on that Pro with the missiles. Another very good kit, as Jin's going to get picked by a rolling Prinz. And Operation Zero gives up the first 17 points, but now has come roaring forward to take control.
Yeah, they're just striking back with so much presence here. Those missiles from that Splattershot Pro are going to be something to look out for if you are Trigger Happy here. They're holding the zone very effectively here, already dispatching the headed, trying to keep the paint output, but here comes the Booyah Bomb coming from Cheeks, putting the zone into neutral, but Operation Zero still have the paint coming from Cherry, from Skywolf here, just constantly keeping it orange here, but now we're seeing the zone go back into neutral. The Inkjet has come out on the side of, I think that's the H3 here, and now it is back in control of Trigger Happy with 3 members down on Operation Zero.
Oh my gosh, Pancake was the last one up and was able to live for quite some time before getting picked. I don't know if that was the right option here, because this is almost certainly a Trigger-happy lead flip. The headed does go down. You see missiles coming out, letting Operation Zero come in off that left-hand side. Pancake and Prinz. Pancake is going to get picked, but Prinz trading that on the opposite side, trading out again with FLM. And oh my gosh, I mean, the trades are all fine and dandy, but you got to get that zone flipped.
Yeah, they have to start moving out here, and Operation Zero don't have a lot of specials running for them here. The Gecko Splash does have rain ready to fly here. Look out above. The storm is coming here. Meanwhile, Pancake halfway towards missiles. This could work, but Operation Zero needs to start acting fast. The Splash has gone down. The Zuka's flying out here. The Mini has gone down. Cherry and Pancake need to start painting this zone, but it's not enough, as Trigger Happy will coat it in a shade of deep blue, securing them a knockout to put them at a lead in this set.
Wow. Trigger Happy showing that perhaps the benefit of not having a bye is that you are playing against tough competition and you roll that right on into your round 2 performance as they take a game off the #1 seed. However, I will say, Frostix, there were some elements of that game that spoke to some rust from Operation Zero to me. I think they're going to be able to shake that off. Towards the end there, especially, you saw, I mean, this moment right here, right, where the Pro is trying to make something out of nothing. Why are you picking that fight? Why wouldn't you just jump back? That seems like an easily correctable mistake for them. And then in the ending moments here, right before that replay you saw, the Splash Gecko player went in alone before their team was ready at the critical moment. You wait 2 seconds there, you have a much better chance for a retake. I mean all that to say, Frostix, I think that Operation Zero just has to shake it off and they'll be right back in this one.
Yeah, definitely so here, especially considering like the amount of potential explosive power that they have at their fingertips. They're running that Frozen Splattershot Pro with those deadly Tenta missiles. They're running the Rattler Mini with that Zuka as well, that can be both a supportive option with the beacons, but also provide a little bit more firepower. And they're bringing the Splash Gecko to the scene, which is definitely an interesting thing, considering how a lot of people were really unsure on how this new Splash kit would play out here. Of course, everyone is just vying for the Zipcaster. Meanwhile, we're seeing Mist and we're seeing Rain here for a little bit more of a disruptive option.
Yeah, and that's interesting. I genuinely like that these players are not afraid to pick up these new weapons and use them in such a high-stakes tournament so quickly. But on the other hand, Frostix, let's take a look at what that special array was. It was the pencil, right? So Cooler, you had Tenta missiles, you had Rain, and then your last one was Zuka. So that, to me, feels like a lot of pressure on that Zuka to be your only breaking in special, and that could have been a problem for Operation Zero too.
Yeah, definitely so here. It's just truly dependent on if that Mini can secure just either picks or displacement, because if they're not securing picks, I think they're really trying to bank off displacement with the Rain and with the missiles. and those can just scatter the rest of Trigger Happy if need be here. But meanwhile, Trigger Happy was just running fades on them here. We're seeing Jin now on the side of Trigger Happy playing that splash here. 941 paint, that's definitely really good. 2.2 specials, maybe not the special output you want on a weapon that has crab here, but even still, just consistently outputting a crab for your team will never not be a bad thing.
Oh yeah, and the other thing is, I'm not sure if these stats are drawing from the game we just saw or from all games, but either way, if you can bump that KDR up to a positive, I think the specials and the paint will come with it. So we're looking for a bit more survivability from Jin. As we move to Splat Zones and Barnacle and Dime, in Frostix, we've seen a lot of teams today counterpicking on modes that they just lost, as Operation Zero will be doing that again, maybe trying to prove that it was a little rust here as we move to Barnacle.
Yeah, hopefully they have that WD-40 at the ready. That way they can just shake off all that rust that they have here. So looking at Operation Zero's comp once more, they were specifically toying around with those new weapons as well. We saw Skywolf with the Mini. We saw Pancake on the new Forge. We saw Hydra. I'm not sure if it was Hydra. I think it was Prinz on the Splash, of course, and then Cherry's still sticking with that ever so reliant Snipe Rider here. I'm wondering if they'll go back to those weapons that they were sticking with before here. Will we see something that we'll maybe anticipate from the team sheets, or will they maybe still try to go test out these new weapons, see if the element of unpredictability could be their edge?
Yeah, I think it'll depend on what they think Trigger Happy is going to do too, because we saw that H3 Viper come out from that side, which we could still see, since Tri-Strikes are going to be good on any zones mode here. But we do see, oh my gosh, they said, we don't like those new weapons anymore. We're going to go back to what we know. The Pencil and the Knot, that could make them a bit slow. That is a slow comp from Operation Zero, but it packs a powerful punch if it gets rolling.
Yeah, definitely. As long as they can secure the space and potentially the numbers here, they could potentially get this lockout if they can secure the positions. But already, the Nautilus is going down here, and the zone has been capped by Trigger Happy. But two members are going down to a collateral high. That blaster courtesy of I think that was Pancake on the side of a Pancake on the side of Operation Zero here. But here comes that Inkjet here on the side of Trigger Happy firing off. Here comes the Zuka as well from Trigger Happy here, playing their name to a team, firing on all cylinders. But watch out, you may get spawn camped by Pancake.
Oh my gosh, Pancake's hitting those directs. I think just got a triple and is rolling in on Jin. I believe Pancake just got all four. We'd have to watch that again to know for sure. But Operation Zero is rolling in here with heavy control. And now, like you said, we're going to be able to see if they can get that lockout going.
Exactly, they're moving in the courts like they are a bunch of lawyers here. And now we're seeing the Rain and the Whale ready on the side of Operation Zero, but they're backing out into the zone. They do get that lead swap here. That's definitely something that you want to get going here. But you're giving up a lot of valuable space. But here comes a Rain pick onto the shot here. The S-Blast and the L3 are going down as well, and it's only FLM left. Skywolf and Prinz are eyeing them with intent, and that Headed is being forced to jump back into the good graces of Trigger Happy here. And Operation Zero are in through the 20s. They're going to be in the 10s relatively soon, and here it is. They're deadly close to knocking out.
Oh yeah, one final opportunity has Trigger Happy. The trade up front isn't going to help them much. They've got to get that zone painted. Cherry is going to be crucial in that respect to get the knockout going for Operation Zero, and they just had to shake it off game one, Frostix. They were rolling throughout most of that one.
Yeah, they went to Barnacle and Dime to go shopping for WD-40 here. The rust is off, and now they're firing on all cylinders here. I think this could be the sign of something dastardly for Trigger Happy if they don't respond with a well-timed counter pick here. But going into these replays here, Trigger Happy did get that first cap initially here, but Operation Zero were able to pick their fights very effectively, constantly ensure that they at least had the numbers advantage even when they didn't have a lot of space going for them here. As soon as they started finding their footing in terms of the amount of players that they had, they started advancing here. They started going in blitzkrieg mode here, potentially getting 2.5 picks according to our lovely streamer Jorian. Shout out to him here. And then after they got that just wipeout, they started moving into court here, just making sure Trigger Happy could not see mid.
Yeah, that's what I love there is during that final push, they're just like, hey, if we just paint the zone and trade them out, they're not going to be able to beat the timer because, sure, we'll have less people up, but so will they, and they won't be able to paint the zone. So I loved how they played that end there, and I love how the blaster was moving forward to give them that second chance in with that quad with the team pretty much all coming at the same time for that wipeout. Strong stuff here. Now, if you're trigger happy, you're kind of, because this is a little bit different from that first set we saw, where clearly both zones games were back and forth. This one, I mean, it truly did seem like Operation Zero was rusty game one, and now game two, they've got it locked in. How do you stop their momentum, Frostix, if you're trigger happy? What do you counterpick here?
Well, obviously, I think you need to capitalize on the fact that Operation Zero's comp is really slow unless they have momentum. So you need to find a way to play on a map mode that can just allow you to get immediate momentum right off the bat here. And I've said it I said it in the last set, maybe they go Rainmaker. There it is! Rainmaker on your toe!
You called it. You called it. Hey, and I'm hoping that Trigger Happy wins this one, because you know what that would mean? It would mean that if they listen to our wisdom, then good things will come. So maybe if Rule of 4 had picked Rainmaker last time, things would have gone differently. But I think this is the right move for Trigger Happy, because you can flip that momentum on its head. But comp-wise, do you change anything? They've been keeping things pretty consistent the first two for Trigger Happy.
Comp-wise, that's definitely... That's interesting here. They were sticking with their guns within the second match. They kept that L3 with... They did keep the L3 with Inkjet here. I think Inkjet is a very interesting way to get Rainmaker pushes going here, of course, because you need to watch out for every single member of the team on the ground, the one with the Rainmaker, and of course you have to look up. So, you know, a lot of options here, and if you can get that Inkjet onto... If you can pop that Inkjet into that final push past the first checkpoint here, it could just be the final say.
Oh yeah, because I mean, if somebody's too busy looking at the Inkjet and you're running it right up through the gut of those final points, you're right, that could be game over right there. We're seeing the same 4 players coming out from Operation Zero. They are going to go ahead and stick with that slow but steady comp. The L3 is going to come back out with an S-Blast now, so not too many comp changes here, but still a lot of nice aggressive specials from Trigger Happy.
Definitely so here. And oh, speaking of aggressive, Trigger Happy right out of the gate getting that pop, securing some more paint in the side of mid for Trigger Happy here. The Soda has come out from Operation Zero. This could potentially speed them up a bit here, but they're not exactly advancing further. They're trying to maybe bank on someone overextending. But speaking of overextending, here comes Pancake trying to get some picks onto Trigger Happy here. But Trigger Happy will be the one picking the Rainmaker, but it will be immediately lost, going down to, I think, the chip damage from the Whale.
Yeah, the picks just keep rolling. I really like, oh my gosh, as the Inkjet is picked out of the sky, how methodically Operation Zero plays, right? Like we've been saying, they have a slow comp, but they know it's slow, right? They operate around that blaster. They go for the openings that are given to them. However, Skywolf gets picked there. Pancake in a tough spot against the Inkjet, and a nice counter defense that is from Trigger Happy, as that rain is going to be picked by Jin, and Trigger Happy is going to have a chance to take this one forward.
And once again, there it is, making sure that you need to be looking up and looking down as well here. I think they were too focused on that Inkjet from the L3 to realize that Sheep was moving in with the shot intercepts here. Still, Operation Zero has a very slim lead that they can enforce, but right now Trigger Happy is trying to respond with Azuka coming out from Sheep. Pancake trying to get some more picks. They're able to take out Jin, take out Ephelum as well here. They're eyeing, I think that is Sheep again. Sheep can't catch a break here. They're getting jumped as Rainmaker will reset back to mid.
That was an unfortunate reset, because had that been a grab, that would have been some nice points and maybe an attempt at the check there. The Inkjet coming out to contest the rain from far behind Operation Zero's backline. Can't quite find the shot as Cherry's ducking and diving and dodging. Will eventually go down here. Pancake still kind of sharking there with Skywolf in an interesting offensive position. Now, I'm kind of worried about, but they're getting these picks. Jin, though, is going to counter Skywolf, and oh my gosh, you almost wonder if that was too much of a risky gambit for Operation Zero to try and set up there.
A risky gambit indeed, as it resulted in 3 members of Trigger Happy going down here, and Operation Zero is already in Trigger Happy's court here. They will be entering the Fight Club. Chief will pop out to the Zuka, being able to rid themselves of Skywolf here, but Cherry will get the checkpoint break here, at least securing them a very solid lead of 60.
Yeah, that is worth it for sure, considering how quickly this game can move back and forth on this map. So it's up to Trigger Happy now, who get things started by picking the 52. Rumbling forward, Clara with the Inkjet is looking for one. Will get picked by Pancake, though. Pancake, B-Blaster, trying to take down Gina's getting 2v1 there. Will get a nice trade out. But trades are what Operation Zero is going to want at this stage of the game. Trigger Happy, though, look at how much control they have. They have the whole left side open to them if they can grab that Rainmaker and run for it. You got to go now, though, because look at this. Operation Zero is already beginning to counter with this Booyah. They've got folks coming up from behind. Rainmaker's making a run for it. Oh, my gosh, the Blaster. No. Everybody's collapsing on them, and that'll be it for that push.
Yeah, I think they were just so focused on maintaining forward space that they realized that, you know, they just didn't have enough time to push it, especially when Operation Zero had the amount of time to regroup and get their numbers where they needed to be, which allowed Operation Zero to just intercept that push right before Trigger Happy got that Rainmaker here. And now the Rainmaker is reset. Prince being able to shut down Clara mid-air. They're finally starting to look up and realize the potential threat at hand.
Yeah, for sure, and that's a great adjustment to make, especially when this game is now as close as it is. Trigger Happy, though, still on the back foot with only about a minute to go, fighting over this pop. Trigger Happy's going to win that one, but now you got to start getting the picks, and that is hard to do with this Blaster, letting everybody know where you are.
Definitely so here, and Clara still raining fire from above, being able to take a pick onto Cherry. Skywolf is moving around it here. Trigger Happy tried to go for the elusive right side push, but they will get shut down once again. They did push their lead to 62, but now there's 45 seconds left on the clock here, and Operation Zero is defending this Rainmaker like a mama hen to her eggs.
Yeah, that tiny little hill of the checkmark podium seems like a mountain at this point. Those 2 points are a big 2 points, but Clara, who has always been good on this Inkjet, is going to pick the rein, trying to work forwards. 3 down. Our Operation Zero, just the pencil who gets one. The Rainmaker is popped. FLM's going to scramble over to this right-hand side. Pancake chasing down the Rainmaker right behind him. Pancake will pick one. Pancake working in on that Rainmaker, trying to get the crucial pick, and will, with only 7 seconds left. 2 will go down for Trigger Happy. 3 down. It's just Clara, and that looks like it's it for Operation Zero, taking the 2-1 lead in this set.
Now the counter pick map was definitely understandable here, ensuring that they could potentially capitalize off of the amount of startup time that Operation Zero needs. But Operation Zero just decided to just quicken, just overclock, and make sure that they could be just firing on all cylinders as soon as the match started here, ensuring that they had they at least matched Trigger Happy's aggression for a good chunk of the match, and finally when they found their footing in terms of the space and in terms of the numbers here, they strike here, getting that first checkpoint play here. Do note, Sofa, both teams didn't make it past checkpoint 1.
Yeah, and we're seeing in chat here, I mean, a really great observation too. And like you said, unusually low score for this map. And here's the thing. That was more competitive for Trigger Happy, right? But that was a low score because Operation Zero has been dictating the pace of games 2 and 3. Sure, they almost got him with Rainmaker. But the reason why that was so slow, the reason why that game was played at the pace that it was because of Operation Zero's slow comp that you also can't go in on super fast. I mean, even though the set is 2-1, Operation Zero is just in complete control here. You've got to try something completely off the wall if you're Trigger Happy to try and take game 4.
Definitely so here. Already they were running something relatively unorthodox here. They're stuck with that new L3, same thing, and they also just had both shots and S-Blast as well. But we'll just have to see what they bring out to TC Hagglefish. We've seen this before here, and once again, I feel like Trigger Happy's comp could suit this map mode again here. But once again, if Operation Zero just finds their footing, can just get their numbers going, can just find the space or find the numbers, they can just put themselves in a really good position to just be a walking turret almost.
Yeah, I mean, I would almost rather go Clams here than Tower, because I think Tower kind of plays right into the hands, like you were saying, of what Operation Zero wants to do. If you're only moving as fast as the Tower is, Operation Zero loves that, because they're like, hey, that's how fast we want to move too. whereas Clam Blitz, it's more about those poppy pushes to get into the basket. That would maybe be a better option against them. But with tower control on Hagglefish, man, oh man, this could be another time where we see this map mode come up, and it's in pretty heavy favor of the upper seed here for Operation Zero. They could close it out right here in Game 4.
Yeah, it could just spell the end here, and you don't want it to be the end right here, especially considering how far you've come if you are trigger happy here. So I think it's really interesting to see how both of these teams play here. Trigger happy is just popping out with so much aggression in their pushes, making sure that they can at least have a pivotal special come out, whether that be the Inkjet or say the Zuka. It just depends on how they can at least have that staying power. That's very important on tower control. Once again, we're seeing the same thing from... Oh, hold on. Wait. Let's just talk about what Trigger Happy is bringing to the table here. Cheap is running N-Zap. Jin is running Buckets. And we're seeing Ephelem on the new Rapid Blaster.
They're saying, hey, you guys want the game to be slow? We're saying the opposite. We want the game to be fast with double cooler with that Winter Pro here. Pancake getting an early trade here. Let's see if Trigger Happy's gambit paid off. We said that you're going to need something wild and wacky, and double cooler at this level of play is pretty wild and wacky.
Yeah, they definitely are going to be messing with Trigger Happy, who will be constantly going back into the fight thanks to these respawn times and their buff that is applied with the tactical. Ephelem trying to get some stray shots onto the upper platform of Operation Zero, but this rain is proving testy for them. Watch out for the storm, because you don't want to get rained on, and that's exactly what is happening. But Clara's trying to pop out with the Inkjet being shut down. Operation Zero have finally found their own anti-air.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And, I mean, that's going to be the key to trying to win this one, is neutralizing Clara, who is going to pop that Inkjet again after having gotten picked while using it before. Another pick under the tent there. 3v3 on the board, trying to press forward, but I don't see a lot of blue pushing forward until the Winter Rapid is able to pick the knot. And again, Trigger Happy, they're looking fast, they're looking competitive. Let's see if they can keep it up, but no! A DC means we are going to replay this one, Frosties.
Okay, luckily, we were barely into the match, which allows us, of course, for that replay. Okay, wow, that was pretty close. Hopefully the members of that one member of Trigger Happy could get their internet going.
Yeah, and you know what the unfortunate thing is? Because it was a member of Trigger Happy who DC'd, there's really no, there's no suspicion of, oh, did Operation Zero do the DC because they weren't ready? What you've lost here from Trigger Happy, you've lost the element of surprise from that double cooler comp. Operation Zero knows it's coming now.
Yeah, here they're knowing that they now have to deal with with a newfound, I think, secret weapon that, well, not really secret anymore, but a newfound aspect of Trigger Happy. They're now bringing AoE to the table, and in spades, they have that V bucket, they have that Winter Rapid Pro. So it's going to allow them to work around the potential little tricky spots whenever you're cruising on the map here. So it'll allow you to just potentially get anyone trying to at least establish a high ground or an angle on you.
Yeah, for sure, which is unfortunate that they're kind of now losing any element of that they could have, because it's one thing, right, if you're in the middle of a game and you're trying to adjust on the fly, but now you've got some time to talk about it, got some time to strategize, which is unfortunate for Trigger Happy, but we'll see. If Trigger Happy DCs again, the game goes on no matter what time or points are on the board. So we're going to load up again. Let's see if they can still have as good of an opening as they had last time.
Definitely so here. What we saw a bit from the previous version of this game was that Operation Zero were still holding the paint onto Trigger Happy, and that's interesting considering how well Trigger Happy was holding the paint against them and how they wanted to use that as an advantage considering the amount of considering how slow Operation Zero's comp is. Already the Gal has gone down here. Same thing with the Blaster and the Nautilus here. Trigger Happy is starting to find their footing here. Prince is moving in, but Ephelem notices that they will be able to get rid of Jin, but Chief is going to be able to get rid of Prince here as Trigger Happy starts their push.
Yeah, this is arguably an even better start than they had last time. So not letting that DC bother them one bit as Operation Zero's down on numbers again. Now this is crucial here. Pancake in the corner. They've got to flush Pancake out if you want to get any amount of good points. The rain kind of forcing everybody, splitting them from the tower. The strikes, though, forcing Pancake back out. This Inkjet from Clara is going to find the pencil way in the back there. 2 go down for Operation Zero. They're still down 1 in numbers, and this could be a huge check break if FLM and Jin could get it. They do. They're continuing to roll up. This splashdown, though, is going to get 1. FLM, though, rides that tower to 21. What a start, Frostings.
So far, I'm getting a bit of deja vu here. It's almost as if I'm seeing the return of Tiger here. A 21 push in the starting minutes of the match. Very solid from Trigger Happy, finally finding their footing. Clara specifically finding some new jet fuel for that Inkjet here, popping out here. But if anything, Operation Zero is striking back with a vengeance, getting rid of Clara as well as Jin, forcing another member to jump out here. And now here comes the rain, courtesy of Skywolf here. The splashdown and the whale are ready as well here. That could prove very deadly here as we see Pancake moves in, forcing Jin back further, but Jin is punishing Pancake even further. Prince is firing off the whale to potentially drive Trigger Happy back, but Jin throwing the strikes and canceling Operation Zero's push prematurely.
Now look at this control as 2 will go down. Jin, though, gets 2 of their own, crashing in here with Clara against Prince, and it seems as though, oh my gosh, I mean, the speed from Trigger Happy from the 2 juices is just allowing them to take so many more fights here. Again, they have numbers as Chief is going to be rolling in. We spoke before the set even started about how good Chief's stats were, how good the numbers game from Chief's is. And, I mean, we're seeing yet another push coming out of Trigger Happy.
Yeah, exactly. They're cruising that tower right back into Operation Zero's territory once again. Something that we saw from Distinkt when they were on Hagglefish Market here, making sure that Operation Zero can barely see Trigger Happy side of the map here, but with them in control of the tower, things may change immediately here. Pancake trying to cheese out the tent. The rain is starting to be hailed down from Operation Zero as well. The sodas are coming out. Jin has the tri-strike. This could, of course, scatter Operation Zero here, but Pancake is pushing Jin. I don't think a third strike is coming out, but look up top here. Clara is firing off with the Inkjet as well here, at least providing a little bit more of a distraction, but Operation Zero has dealt more damage here, getting to the first checkpoint here, and I think they're starting to push further.
Everybody else lived that splashdown, though, which is crucial. Nice pick on Skywolf to get the knot out of the attic there. As, oh my gosh, Trigger Happy's going to defend that tower beautifully. They are doing a great job, let me tell you. I mean, the key to fighting this Operation Zero slow comp is to making sure you're not falling for the traps that the blaster and the knot are setting for you. And they've been doing a much better job of that this time. 2 goes down for Operation Zero again. Cherry's still on this tower, getting a good sustain here. But, I mean, it seems like the fights are going way more towards Trigger Happy's side of this one.
Exactly, they're playing that numbers advantage, trying to ensure that they can endure the storm that Operation Zero constantly throws their way, and they're able to secure 2 more picks here, playing the defense finally, and playing it well with 3 more members of Operation Zero going down. The tri-strikes and the Inkjet are ready from Trigger Happy as they take the tower and cruise it right back to that first checkpoint area here. This could be it, as we now have almost around 40 seconds left on the clock.
Look at all these specials, and you wonder, when do you pop these strikes? Do you use them to try and get a push now, or do you save them for 30 seconds? I would almost rather you use them now and then try and get another set going as you do get another member of Operation Zero down. Jin with some crazy maneuver to get out of sure death there as FLMV. Pancake's going to get that one. Pancake trying to put the team on their back, though. One final chance, but the bucket player held their strikes this entire time for Trigger Happy.
Definitely so here. I think we're about to see some Parmesan be graded here. And now it just depends on if Jin can get in the right place at the right time. It just depends on what happens in overtime, Sofa here. Already, Pancake being canceled out of their splashdown, and there's the Parmesan, there's the Gouda, there's the cheese from Jin's bucket, allowing them to go into the tiebreaker.
I did not expect this set to go to a Game 5 after we saw Game 2. It seemed pretty evident after watching Game 2 that Game 1 was purely lost due to rust. But we've got to eat a little bit of crow here on the SAC Under Pressure stream here, because Trigger Happy found a workaround to what Operation Zero is doing and was able to still get a dominant win despite the DC. They lost that element of surprise, proving that that double cooler comp was not cheese, Frostix. Sure, maybe the strikes were, but the double cooler comp is here to stay. They effectively beat them twice, although that DC didn't go very far. But, I mean, they proved that this comp has staying power, and we are in for a banger of a Game 5.
And there it is again, staying power, what's very effective whenever you're playing at this level of play. I've said play twice here, but you get the gist of things here. Just ensuring that the amount of pressure that you are exerting on the enemy team is constantly ramping, ensuring that you are in a comfortable spot whenever you're doing that push, whether that is ensuring that you can break past a very key checkpoint on tower control or a very key choke point on Rainmaker, ensuring that your clams pushes and your zones holds are very, very lasting here. So what is our final game, Sofa?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Trigger Happy does have the disadvantage of this being Operation Zero's counterpick. Now, it can't be Zones or Rainmaker. So now you're in another position of, do we try it again on Tower? I don't think they will, because that was pretty dominant for Trigger Happy. Or do we go Clams, which may, as we said before, might not work with their comp, because it kind of requires these more poppy pushes that can happen on a dime, which is not what Operation Zero wants. So it looks as though, Splat Zones Mako, they can't pick zones, can they? Somebody in chat, tell me about the, you can't pick on the last map mode that you went on. So hey, in the couple months since I played, they must have changed, every tournament must have changed their counterpick rules. So I guess they could play Splat Zones. Do you think this is the right pick, Frostix?
Well, we saw that Operation Zero, we saw that both teams played really well in zones. We saw Trigger Happy take Crableg. We saw Operation Zero take Barnacle and Dime. So when it comes down to Mako Mart, I think obviously when it comes down to Mako Mart, you need to embrace the essence of Obi-Wan Kenobi and take the high ground.
Yep. And I think that this could be a dangerous counterpick to make after just getting stunted on by a bucket in tower control. And then you're giving this bucket the wonderful wide world of Mako Mart, which buckets excel at. So it could be a little danger inherent in that. But I do think that from the two zones games we saw, Operation Zero looked like the better team on zones. I think that's a safe pick for them, taking advantage of these new counterpick rules that I didn't know they were implemented. But hey, cool stuff that you can go back to zones if you've won a game in the interim. They've kind of earned that for themselves. I think Game 5 could go Operation Zero's way.
It definitely could, especially even with Trigger Happy running with a lot more AoE at their disposal with that Winter Rapid Blaster Pro as well as the V-Bucket here. Would you doubt Pancake's ability on that Custom Blaster?
You can't doubt Pancake at this point, because in that rough Game 4, the only player who was still just getting picks left and right, I felt, was Pancake. So Pancake is the one, and you've got a bucket coming out for Operation Zero as well. Frostix, I think that this could be their wild card that gets them a dub here.
Yeah, Skywolf switch into that bucket in the final game here, and it looks like Operation Zero has some cheese of their own, which will, well, the strikes haven't come out just yet here, but they do get that first cap, but it's immediately flipped by Trigger Happy here. But that being said, Clara's gone down off rip. That's no Jet to worry about. That's something that is already a lot more comfortable for Operation Zero. As they are moving in, they will land a direct here. There's 2 members down, and Operation Zero is staying in this hold.
Yeah, Clara took a little bit too long to get out of there to realize that the fight was already lost, as now 2 other members go down, and Trigger Happy stuck in a bit of a stagger. How do they react? They react by Cheap rolling on in here. Cheap, that's not the right move. Good jump out from Cheap there. You've got to take the time to get reoriented here. But your Zap goes down up front. You've got the strikes and the Jet ready. But oh my gosh, I mean, already another goes down in Operation Zero. They could knock out right now.
Yeah, definitely so here. Already we're seeing Pancake move in for finisher with a pick onto Ephelim, but then Jin will be able to get Pancake out, and here comes the cheese. The Tri-Spacer flying in from both teams. Zone is in neutral, but it gets recapped by a fresh grading of Pecorino Romano from Operation Zero here. They're moving into the 10s here. It could go into the single digits, but Trigger Happy will get the flip.
Yeah, and thank goodness they did, because now it's Bucket v Bucket, which will get traded out. Prinz now is trying to recap this zone. So what they've done, Trigger Happy, is they've bought themselves some time. But as the board is 2v2 now, Prinz trying to hold down the fort. You have to start to play a little bit differently. You can sense the panic coming in from Trigger Happy. Oh my gosh, you've got to start winning some of these fights in neutral as they lose another one with the Bucket going down. That's going to let Operation Zero rush in here again.
That being said, Clara has popped the inkjet here. Once again, look up, but also look down here, because you don't want to be going down to Jin like this. Here, there's 3 members down on Operation Zero. Make it 4. That could be a delayed wipe if Operation Zero doesn't make it back here. Trigger Happy is now counting it down. 1 soda has come out on the side of Trigger Happy as well. Cheat trying to get some high ground with this zap here, but Skywolf has these tri-strikes ready, and here they come, here they fly from both teams as well. It's strike on strike one more time.
Juiced up Pancake is gonna get 3! Pancake with the triple stack is looking for another one, forcing a jump out there now. If you're Trigger Happy, you're able to grind it down all the way to 43, keeping yourself in this game, but you've got to find some way to neutralize Pancake, and Clara could be that method here. Pancake is going to get picked, the splashdown though with Clara. We're even up on the board here. Oh my gosh, Frostix, how do you think this one's going to turn out?
Well, there were 3 members down on Operation Zero earlier, but like you said before, Prinz is holding down the fort here, and there's Pancake is still trying to apply more pressure as they go here, landing a direct earlier. Cherry, of course, holding down the paint in the back line for Operation Zero, putting the zone into neutral, but it has been flipped once more by Trigger Happy. There's 2 minutes left on the clock. Clara's trying to get a push in, overextending a bit, but they are noticed. They are punched a bit, being forced to move back here. They're almost out of their penalty points. And here comes Clara with a inkjet from behind, getting rid of Pancake, putting more damage onto Cherry as well here. But the tri-strikes are coming out from Operation Zero, putting the zone into neutral here. It's Orange and Cyan pushing together here, and now Trigger Happy still gets a split, and they're still counting down, but with a splashdown from Pancake, it's been flipped in the favor of Operation Zero, putting 42 more penalty points for Trigger Happy.
Somebody get Pancake some aspirin back in body right now, because their back is aching with how much Pancake is putting the team on their shoulders here. Prinz will go down, but it is just swarming Trigger Happy. You can tell those double juices are really kicking in now as they get numbers again by taking down the Bucket. Now watch Pancake here to see what happens next. You've got some folks marked. Pancake has to scamper back. You're running out of time here, forcing a jump out on FLM. Pancake's choosing this time to roll in. He's almost at that splashdown. A huge moment here to see in this game 5. Can they flip the zone back? They do with 1 point to go, putting a huge penalty on Trigger Happy, helping to pick up the front here with 30 seconds to go. Oh my gosh, Trigger Happy has to push yet again, and they've lost numbers too.
Yeah, Trigger Happy is definitely in panic mode here. Under 30 seconds left, a single point differential here, but they're already trying to push their lead on to Operation Zero. Clara firing off with that inkjet here. The soda's coming out from Operation
Almost
Zero.
there.
They are juiced. Here come the tri-strikes from the Bucket from Skywolf here. The lead is lost. 10 seconds left. Trigger Happy have taken the lead with 10 seconds left on the clock. Operation Zero needs to make this work into overtime, but Trigger Happy is still in control. Cherry is the only one left. Trigger Happy! What a final couple of seconds in that zones match from our seed. Oh, from our seed 8. An upset to tell a Discord server.
Oh, for sure. This is one to write home to mom about. I mean, here's the thing. Whenever we get into cool sets like this, there's always the risk of over-sensationalizing cool things. But Frostix, I will tell you, and you can probably verify the same, for particularly the category of like 2 teams matching styles and finding comp counterpicks for each other, in all the sets that I've played and commentated, that was one of the most insane like playstyle flips to counter another team that I've ever seen. Going with the double cooler, something that should not be viable, against an Operation Zero team that was looking so dominant defensively, like a brick wall. But Trigger Happy busted through it with those last 2 games in that double cooler. They deserve this trip to winners semis. Or winners, winners semis.
Winners semis, their ticket is punched here, and of course, quoting the legendary Skylander, their team is based off no gold, no glory for Trigger Happy here, and they're just making sure that they have a name set out for themselves as they have taken a set against Seed 1, knocking Operation Zero into loser's bracket. And once again, not to over-sensationalize things, but don't count on Operation Zero yet here. They played this set so well here. Pancake, specifically, man, you said aspirin back in body to just potentially soothe the backaches that they may be having. But even still, I wouldn't count the rest of Operation Zero out as well. They played it really well. Prince holding down the line with that gal. Of course, Cherry maintaining that support, maintaining that paint output with the pencil here. Yeah, that's everyone that played in Operation Zero for this set here. They had a insane set, not just to play in, but also to cast. My hands are up. You can put a Martin Scorsese filter, impact text top and bottom, absolute cinema.
It really was. It really was. You ain't kidding. I mean, it's not often that you see a team look so dominant in those first games, and then it's just completely turned on its head. If you've got any friends who are going to be playing against Operation Zero in Losers Next, text them right now. Double cooler is the way, because apparently that's what you need to do to beat this team. And I mean, Operation Zero could be feeling a little bit like they were in Pokemon the Raichu that evolved too early, winning the first qualifier and then not playing any others. That could kind of come back to bite them in this finals here. But like you said, that's also a team that could rip off a run to win the whole thing. So let's explore what the rest of our bracket is looking like. Distinkt was able to take the 3-1 win over their rivals, Passione. They may not be rivals, but we're drumming it up here for the for the entertainment factor. Stars Impact, the other German team in this tournament, was able to get a win over Yellow Jackets. Meanwhile, Big Fat Sea Cows and Unlimited Woomy, they are heading towards a Game 5 if you want to go towards that. But we are heading towards a commentary swap, folks. Frostix, where can the good folks in chat find you between now and your next time on the mic?
Well, of course, you can see my blue sky below, or not just yet, but when it switches up to Frostix, bluesky.social, you can follow me on Twitter at TK_Frostix. And, well, you know what I'm going to say. If you want to support some of the work that I do personally, you can read my web novel Gap Year on Wattpad. I swear it's worth your time. Sofa, what about you?
Well, not too many socials at the time, folks. I am doing just a very casual YouTube stuff, very low effort. You can find me there at Tony Pizza. But otherwise, just kind of chilling. I may re-enter comp once we get mouse controls for Splat 4, but we'll be kind of vibing until then. But folks, what a start it has been to the finale of Season 10 of the SAC. We are going to toss you down to Losers Bracket. I believe we're going to see Passione versus Insomniac Central for some hype elimination matches. So don't go anywhere. That'll be brought to you by SPF Dark and Carney, as well as we've got other matches on Splatoon Tourney, IPL, and Dapple. It's a big old festival today for SAC. We've been SofaKing and Frostix, and we will see you next time.
Get ready for the next battle, ladies, gentlemen, Zaydem, in between. My name is SPF Dark, and coming at you live here at Under Pressure to bring you on the second half of our SAC Grand Finale. But before we get to our matches first, I am joined by a very good friend of mine here today.
Hi everyone, it's me, Carney, here on Under Pressure with my bestie, Dark. We have some very incredible matches coming at ya. It is, in fact, time for everyone's favorite bracket, the Losers Bracket. We are going to be coming at you with 3 separate Losers Bracket matches. It's going to be really a lot of fun. You're going to be seeing teams that you have seen before in past qualifiers, in past streams, if you've been bouncing back and forth. And we do have a really good first set for you today. Let us give a hand for Passione and Isomniac Central for our first match.
Yeah, I mean, I've been watching all of these streams back and forth, bouncing between all our other broadcasts throughout the entirety of the day, and let me say, I'm very excited for this one in particular. Both of these two teams have proven to be very well in their own regards. I mean, they made it this far at the very least, and it's unfortunate that they did get knocked down to losers very early on, but I know, regardless of that fact, they are going to be putting on one great show here today.
Absolutely. And speaking of great shows, let us get a look at our first map, well, our known map here, shall I say. We are going directly into Splat Zone's Mako Mart Splat Zones, which we saw in the last match that we had casted here on Under Pressure before the break. And we are seeing a lot of new weapons on the board here. I am just absolutely seeing the new Splat Dualies on both sides. We see the Pro, we see an S-Blast, which I'm sure that you are very excited for, Dark.
Yeah, these are very interesting team comps that these two teams have been bringing out today. And already Passione trying to go in for this initial early hold on this Splat Zone. Unfortunately, gets shut down as 2 goes down. Isomniac Central going in fast to take control and already have the first few hold on the zone and trying to get the first few points and extend the lead as best as they can.
Absolutely. Isomniac Central still holding on to that zone for as long as humanly possible before they end up going 2 down. But it's 2 and 2, 3 and 2. Passione going 3 down in the moment, which means Isomniac Central is once again in control of the zone. Tenor with the tent, just doing a very excellent job of keeping that platform occupied. That is the key goal here that you want to see on Mako Mart. You got to keep that platform occupied, so Passione has to fight through the tent on Tenor and through Guapa on those Splat Dualies to even get a chance at retaking the stacks and the zone. But we are going to see a Booyah Bomb come out, and it seems like with 2 down on Isomniac Central, it is time for Passione's fight to begin as they end up capping that zone, giving Isomniac Central a 50-tick penalty.
Yeah, Passione capping the zone there is huge for them, giving a heavy penalty points to Isomniac Central, but they were still stuck on this platform. Isomniac Central's last standing player, the red here, just holding the line as best they can, providing enough time for Isomniac Central to respawn, regroup, and take the zone, or at least contest the zone, finally take the zone once again to be able to chip away those penalty points to give Passione some additional penalty points on their end as they're getting ready here to re-engage once again here. Guapa going down here on this 1-1 trade as Reddit just once again, just very, very aggressive, hiding under this ledge. Very dangerous for Splatoon Stammer, but unfortunately gets picked out here immediately by Freaky Fella as they pop the Tethanos will try and take space, scatter it on that crash as they attempt to retake zone once again.
Absolutely. I couldn't have put it better myself. Isomniac Central, again, still on the lead here. They are at 15 ticks for their penalty, but they do end up going 3 down in the moment. Wipeout on Isomniac Central, which means that Passione's time to shine is now. We are going to be seeing that bubble up very, very shortly as they retake zone, and they are in the optimal position for a counterattack. Unfortunately, that trade there means that they are down that bubble and those Splat Dualies. Red here is going to be hiding right behind that cooler, trying to get any sort of picks that they can on those stacks and off of those stacks. The Booyah Bomb may be going out shortly. If it doesn't end up going down to Isomniac Central, Passione 3 down in the moment as Insomniacs once again take control of the zone, and they are handing a pretty decent 33-tick penalty over to Passione. But Passione has the sodas up, and they are ready for that counterattack. They get a really good pick on that 10th there in the moment. 3 down on Isomniac Central, and now it's Passione's time to shine yet again as they begin taking control of the stacks.
Very good usage of tactical here to re-engage properly against Isomniac Central to properly punish what their initial push was, and now each time they get a hold, Passione has been able to chip away a few additional points. That initial staggering lead that Isomniac Central held there has been slowly shortening with each passing hold, and as penalty points are now gone for Passione, they're looking trying to re-engage, try to reconstruct this lead once again, but unfortunately it's a back and forth contest for this zone to try and maintain control by each side, but Isomniac Central holds strong, especially with their specials online. It's going to be a bit hard to try and push Passione back out as they head into the final minute, 30 seconds of this game.
Absolutely, and we can see Sam on that new Rapid Blaster just really putting in the work, being that support that Isomniac Central is needing for this game as they begin to tick through those penalty points and getting the points even farther down than they already originally were. And now with 2 of Passione going down, they are not stopping the clock now as we are going to be heading into the single digits shortly. Passione has to cap the zone now if they want to stand a chance at getting that overtime win. And with that, it is not looking good for them to retake that zone. But in the last second, they do think maybe, oh my god, it's a fight in mid, and they do end up recapping the zone, giving a 50-tick penalty to Isomniac Central. They are not out of the running yet.
As long as there's still 1 point remaining, as long as there's still 1 second remaining in this game, there's still an opportunity to make a comeback. And Passione done with the penalty points here. 1 doesn't want to go down. Isomniac Central trying desperately to re-engage you so they don't let this game slip away here. Popping special rapid special from both sides. 2 down from Isomniac Central. So Passione looking very good as we head into the final 10 seconds of this game. But Isomniac Central does not have a lot of time yet to try to retake this game once again. If we see this final team fight going badly for Isomniac Central, they're gonna lose this game with 1 point remaining, with the first pick already down, the 10 brother down. Passione is going to be able to hold this strong and could potentially take this game away, stealing it from Isomniac Central.
No! What? My god! Passione with the overtime win, knocking out Isomniac Central in the first game of this set, really showing off that higher seed status on really just flexing on Isomniac Central. They were doing an excellent job of repeatedly, just they went down. Isomniac Central took the lead. They would give them penalty points, and Passione just rising up from the grave every single time to put Isomniac Central back in its place. And it really showed during that overtime in that the first match. We got a 100-99 overtime win.
I'm truly at a loss of words right now, Cardi. What was a very good showing by Isomniac Central. Passione showed that things do not end on such simple terms like that. They will take each game, each set to the absolute limit to prove that they are one of the higher seeds for a reason. And this game was a prime example of that. They did not give up, even with odds stacked against them, and they were barely able to clip it out here. And oh my goodness.
Let's take a look at these player highlights here. We see that S-Blast, Dark, your baby, your one beloved S-Blast on the screen right now. What do you have to say about these stats?
Oh, I mean, S-Blast is a very highly aggressive weapon and highly frontlining weapon, so these stats kind of make sense for what it was supposed to be happening here, especially for Passione at the very end there. You know, it's hard to see exactly what the exact specifics of the 1.75 KDR might be, but I can probably tell it as long as it's still a positive, it's a very good highlighting. Caliph on the S-Blast shows exactly why they are doing so well here, and man, oh man. But here, moving on to our head-to-head though, these two players here from both sides, one has a lot more kill participation from Goldeb's side, but Guap, the junior, with no surprise, has a higher special output as well as paint, power, and presence.
Yeah, it's really no surprise seeing that. And what is a surprise is that we are going back to Splat Zones here on Robo Ramen for Isomniac Central's counter pick. The mode that they just lost on, they felt that it was close enough to where they were going to go right back into it and see if they could snack the win from Passione, like Passione did to them during that first match. And let us take a look at these comps here. We are still seeing several new weapons, but I do want to point out that we have swapped from the newer set of the dualies to the Dapples here. The Dapples with the Reef Slider, no less. So we are going to be seeing a lot of Reef Cheese on this very itty-bitty little zone. And Isomniac Central is going to be taking that first half of the game here as they begin their counter-attack. And now if you know Robo Ramen, especially on Splat Zones, you know how pivotal it is to defend this specific elbow that these teams are playing on. Because once you get past that elbow, it is just very easy to lock the other team out. So I'm hoping to see Passione's defense here.
Most definitely. It's such a hard choke point to try and get through here. And even though we see one player from Passione going on the flank end to try and pull back some of that pressure from Isomniac Central, successfully doing so, might I add, as they go in forward, Passione coming in fast to try and recap the zone. At least contest it so they aren't running away with additional points here. Isomniac Central is forced back to the retreat and respect the pressure, losing the zone in the process and going down for a 1-for-1 trade. What a beautiful jump as well by the Dapple Dualies here, as they got dealt a heavy amount of penalty points.
If you know Dualies, you know the game is to roll and kill, and those Dapple Dualies really showed you how quickly even a supportive weapon like the Dapples can be at killing, as they do that just really nasty dog roll right off the edge. Passione still in control of the zone, but that Zipcaster providing pressure on their backline means that it is time for Isomniac Central to move forward and try and cap the zone with as much ink as they possibly can. Both teams go 2 down in the moment, which means that Isomniac Central takes advantage of the situation they found themselves in and gives Passione a 45-tick penalty as they begin to tick their own penalty points down. And again, we are going to be moving into this elbow area, this pivotal place for a lockout to happen, but Passione is really just giving them a really hard time just getting into this elbow.
Yeah, Isomniac Central wants to try and make sure they can close out this game. For as a reminder, folks, we moved on from a best of 5 to a best of 3 here in losers bracket, meaning whoever loses this set here, if Passione manages to win this game here, Isomniac Central will be going home, and they're done for the SAC Season 10 here. So they're doing absolutely everything they can to make sure they can at least win this game, so they have one more chance to try and take out the set and send Passione home. And the Bubbler here at this pivotal choice may be the beginning of that push to try and make things happen and to their side. But penalty points already gone for Passione, as Isomniac Central are trying to move in quickly for a 1-1 trade on both sides. Means a bit of a scramble from both ends to try and maintain an advantage. But 2 goes down for Isomniac Central. Passione takes control of the zone once again, just narrowly taking lead in the process.
Passione 39 to Isomniac Central's 38. 3 down on it. It is a wipeout on Isomniac Central. Passione is going to be moving forward into that lockout position past that elbow that Isomniac Central was giving them so much trouble. And now we see the offensive possession taking the lead right out from underneath Isomniac Central's grasp. And now Isomniac Central is going to be feeling the pressure now. After they get past elbow, they need to take control of the zone and hold it for as long as humanly possible in order to get that. But Passione taking control of the zone yet again, really giving Isomniac Central a hard time now, as we have seen the lead differential just boost. Now it is 12 to 38 with Isomniac Central in control of the zone. They need to keep Passione out of it if they want to win this match and force a game 3.
It's a very slippery situation for both sides. That's not a huge difference between either team. It could genuinely still go either way, but with Passione set up here in mid on the zone, getting ready for this counter push from Isomniac Central with 1 minute remaining, it's going to be very hard for Isomniac Central to try and push through, especially given at this point in the stage, they know exactly how they want to play it out. Those penalty points are slowly slipping away. 1 down from Isomniac Central, as they're still to be able to apply pressure to Passione. 2 down from Isomniac Central, the 3rd player on the other side of the map, and I believe that's the games in the match, not be able to free cover fast enough. Passione's hold is too strong as they take this first game. A last-ditch effort by Red to go into the backline, but it's not enough.
Passione sweeping Isomniac Central in an explosive first set on our losers bracket. What an incredible game from Passione in the disadvantage trenches there. For the first couple of minutes of that match, they really pulled themselves together and managed to just swipe that win from Insomniac Central. Unfortunately, that does mean the Insomniacs are going to be going home, and hopefully because of their name, maybe getting a little bit of sleep after all of these impressive sets that they have played, with Passione one step closer to getting towards that coveted bracket reset.
I mean, yeah, it's so hard to understand how amazing this set was. Insomniac Central in the first game set up really well. Let's not undermine what they managed to do this set. They managed to take that first game down to 1 point remaining, but something snapped within Passione for them to absolutely lock in, not only take up that first game against Insomniac Central, but absolutely just pretty much hard fought win this game against them on this second game. It was very impressive and just a spectacular thing to see here.
Absolutely. What an incredible display of prowess from Passione. Again, both of these teams went so far. This reminder, this is the SAC finals for this season. So both of these teams fought hard and earned their spots here. And let's take a look at the player highlight for this game. Skittles Passione's headed with an incredible 3.29 KDR, 4.6 specials, and 1,200 and then some points of paint on the ground. I've never seen a Headit with a KDR that high.
I mean, with stats like that, it's no wonder Passione was able to do so amazing, so wonderfully that last game. So much painting pressure from Skittles here with the heavy, as well as a lot of tacticals being used, meaning that Passione was able to just constantly be on the aggression, constantly being on the forward, and it just, wow.
Yeah, what an oh my gosh, just incredible showings. Let's take a look at this head-to-head here. Noir from Insomniac Central, and like we saw Skittles on Passione, the difference here is as clear as can possibly be, with just the KDR, the specials, and the paint. Really just, again, just so much kind of, they're just a really good showing in general of the power of Passione on that last match. Just, I'm like still in shock with how well that match turned up for Passione. Like, just, again, time after time after time, just rising up from the ashes, just getting, like, okay, so now we are on the back end, like, Insomniac Central is on our elbow, like, what do we do? And it's defense. It's a rock-solid defense, not overextending. You get your picks, you push forward as much as you feel comfortable with pushing forward, and then suddenly it's like, oh, it's a knockout, the game's over, and now we are moving on in the loser's bracket.
I mean, yeah, it was an explosive way to start out that loser's bracket, and it just goes to show the kind of skill and the kind of plays we'll be seeing here for the remaining of our bracket run here. And just, wow, I'm just utterly speechless though from that first, and an incredible first set we saw.
Yeah, oh my god, that was really, really good first set, but we have more sets for you coming at you, like, ASAP. I believe we're about to pop into our next set, so we are actually not going to. I was just informed that we are going to be waiting for a little bit, so if you guys want to take a drink of water, have a little snack while we wait for the second match to get started, now would be the time to do that. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Under Pressure. We are back at you for our second round of Losers Bracket. It is going to be Unlimited, Woomy, United, and Tidal Disruption. If you don't know me, again, I am Carney. I'm joined here by Dark. I had to figure out which of my hands pointed at Dark's camera. We've, again, really good matchup for you. Let's take a look here at these weapon comps. I do want to point out the Glooga users on Unlimited Woomy United Axiom with those nasty Glooga dualies, as well as a really wide array of weapons on Tidal Disruption as well.
Yeah, it's very it's very funny to see such a diverse weapon lineup, you know, especially considering after what dropped earlier this week with a 30 weapon patch here. So it's kind of hard to say exactly if some of those weapons are going to be staying or if we're going to be seeing just brand new weapons here. But no, hot off the press here, Splatoon Shipshape Cargo Companies be our first match of this set. No hesitation, no extra waiting around. We're jumping straight into it to see exactly how this second set's going to kick off.
I'm seeing a double roller comp on the side of Woomy here, as I also see a Squelcher as well as on Tidal Disruption, a pretty standard comp all the way through. We've got your pencil, your decap, the shot, real good standard gold quality stuff here. Unlimited Woomy United and Tidal Disruption fighting for supremacy in mid now on this Splat Zone ship shape match. Unlimited Woomy United is going to be taking the first cap of that, and oh my god, Tidal Disruption wipes out. Unlimited Woomy is going to be moving forward into that potential lockout area, because like the previous maps that we have seen, Shipshape Cargo Company is one where you do want to try and lock out as much as you possibly can.
Yeah, this map is very easy to lock out here, so this would be a huge cash in front of Unlimited Woomy United here, taking out down 50 points remaining off this first hold here, finally at least getting a bit of a contest here, but the VAC comes in, knocks out one player, and is able to keep his momentum going on their side. 40 points remaining. Tidal Disruption is struggling to actually keep up with his momentum here as they get lose another player down, constantly going down one by one. Tidal Disruption is getting staggered very well here, and Unlimited Woomy United is able to finally maybe run away with this game, and then keep this hold up. 76 remaining. Bowler being used to try and at least push it forward now, but 1-for-1 trade. That's not what you want to see here. 2-0 for Unlimited Woomy United. This has a back up a little bit. Tidal Disruption finally being able to come in, finally being able to catch those, dealing a heavy amount of penalties with the enemy team.
72 ticks worth of penalty points to single digits for Unlimited Woomy United. Tidal Disruption just briefly stops their onslaught as Unlimited Woomy United takes control of the zone. Once again, that Booyah Bomb is going to be coming out as soon as possible. One down on either side now. Woomy is still ticking down those penalty points. Tidal Disruption just trying to get a foothold in everything that is going on right now. As we can see, that Roller and that Blaster are going to be fighting to the death, and unfortunately in that situation, the Blaster is going to be losing. Woomy here on the Carbon Roller doing as a Carbon should, sharking, putting down your mines. You got, or mines, putting down your mines. I say like Carbon has mines. Just making sure that that mine is really well protected here. But Unlimited Woomy United does end up going 2 down in the moment. Now 3 down as a delayed 3 down. Tidal Disruption moves forward, gets a trade on that, on those Gloogas, doing a really good job here of keeping the pace like up as much as they possibly can. Tidal Disruption finally has a foothold in this game, and they are going to be trying to run with it.
Yeah, finally being able to keep Unlimited Woomy United back at least a little bit. Tidal Disruption takes it down to 50 points remaining at the very least before that zone eventually does go down. But 2 down for Unlimited Woomy United means that they're not going to be able to probably paint up that zone and finish the capture here. And actually, Tidal Disruption is be able to keep up their momentum. 30 points, almost 30 points remaining. Woomy goes down by Z34, and that's a huge pickoff here. No missiles means that Tidal Disruption can actually play a bit more aggressively without too much fear of being scattered. And now another 1-for-1 trade here. Missiles finally coming out. It's be a bit of a mad scramble here from both teams to try and make sure take advantage of the best they can, but with points remaining, they're going to be able to swap the lead, and then they're going to be able to take away this game right under Unlimited Woomy United, taking it away.
Tidal Disruption with just that absolute godsend of a play in that last couple of seconds there in that match, knocking out Unlimited Woomy United in the first game of this set. It was so close there. Unlimited Woomy was on single digits, might I remind you, up until like the very last possible second when Tidal Disruption swooped in. They were like, okay, this is our turf now. We're going to cap this zone. We're going to move forward with the tide and disrupt Unlimited Woomy United and their absolutely just devious play there. That was incredible. Going from nothing all the way to single digits. Let's take a look at that Galuga's player on Unlimited Woomy United.
Yeah, actually, I'm really putting in a lot of work in that last game. 3 specials, like decent chunk of paint on the floor. It really, Unlimited Woomy United tried their best to keep it at home, but it is unfortunate that they were lost at the very end there to what was just pretty much a mad dash scramble, like despite Axiom's best efforts. Because man, oh man, I can't believe we saw yet another game where it got down to single digits before the other team just came in and stole the game away. Tidal Disruption proving once again they're here for a reason, making it this far and do not want to go home. Another reminder, folks, once one of these teams loses here in losers bracket, they are done. There's no more opportunities. This is their second chance to stay alive.
And with that, let's take a look at the head-to-head here, sporting the matching headgear. The KDR specials and paint really, really close for these two players. Just, they did a very good job of making sure that both of their teams just absolutely demolish one another in the moment. I believe Woozy was being on that flings up, which is really a weapon that you don't see much nowadays. And I'm very happy to have seen it in such an explosive match. But let's take a look at Unlimited Woomy's counter pick, because we're going for something completely different here. That's right, it is Inkblood Art Academy Tower Control, and if you like playing with the stacks, this is the map for you, because especially on Tower Control, it's all about the stacks and it is all about the bats. And with these two teams, I see a double bubble trouble on Tidal Disruption. That is going to be absolutely annoying to deal with, especially on Tower Control.
Oh, absolutely. The space that bubble can just hold for such a long time can be an absolutely devastating blow here. And already Tidal Disruption down a few players as Unlimited Woomy United want to try and reverse what was the initial start of their last game to be the first ones to try and take the objective and keep it pushing and not lose out once again. Team Zuka coming out to try and get a pick. They get an assist here, trying to go for a third one player on the bats, but no, unfortunately, Guayabama is used to try to clean up that pick. Your first checkpoint already gone.
Yeah, first checkpoint blown through and heading for that second checkpoint now. Unlimited Woomy United takes down 2 members of Tidal Disruption already at checkpoint 2. Now, the bubbles are not going to save them for the carbon on the bats that is just doing the absolute utmost to keep the rest of Tidal Disruption out. And with that, we are going straight for third checkpoint. 2 down on either side. It is looking like it's going to be a 100-0 game, but not for long as Unlimited Woomy United wipes out past checkpoint 3 as Tidal Disruption ends up taking the tower back in their possession under their turf and moving forward, pushing up way beyond the limits of that tower protection and going straight for bats with the double bubble.
A very good opening play here from Unlimited Woomy United to take it all the way down to 12 points remaining. There's no checkpoints up for them, so it's going to be a very slippery slope if they are able to take the tower once again. But Tidal Disruption wants to make sure that doesn't happen. They're already moving in fast, moving in forward to try and make sure Unlimited Woomy United is disrupted enough to not be able to probably regroup here. First checkpoint already gone for them, heading for that second checkpoint, not being able to contest that. Unlimited Woomy United has backed up a little bit to give them some space. That second checkpoint almost as good as gone at this point. Unfortunately, Jim's missing it despite an additional point being forced off before they can actually properly take it. And now the tower is moving back 2 minutes. 2 goes down. A huge save from Unlimited Woomy United.
And with that ink back about to be popped any second now, we see that Squelcher just really doing the dirty work here, painting up mid, trying to get into that mid-light position that Unlimited Woomy United wants against Tidal Disruption. sucking up that Booyah Bomb like nobody's business and trying to shoot it directly back into the wake of Tidal Disruption. Unlimited Woomy United does end up losing the tower, as that tower is once again stuck in that neutral mid position here, as paint is flying from both of these sides. Tidal Disruption is looking for a pick to start their push, and with 2 down on Unlimited, 3 down on Unlimited Woomy United, Tidal Disruption is going to do this, take this chance to take the tower and move forward. We already see players beginning to creep into Unlimited Woomy United's backs, with that bubble being placed in the optimal spot there, as the decap and the blaster combo looking like with those double bubbles, they're really going to be annoying to get rid of. We are past checkpoint 2 now, but it looks like that Tidal Disruption's push is going to be disrupted, as they end up going 3 down before they make it a little bit ways past that checkpoint despite breaking it.
I'm gonna be honest, Carney. I'm seeing a bitter repeat from the last game. Unlimited Woomy United got a huge single first push at the first half of this game, but Tidal Disruption has been slowly playing this game now, slowly learning from what the new strategy is from Unlimited Woomy United, and are able to adjust from it, and are actually starting to execute their proper plans to counteract it, slowly pushing the tower further and further. Once again, as the tower in their possession, that second checkpoint gone, they're gonna be able to try at least to get to their checkpoint, but Sentimentals is coming out here from Unlimited Woomy United means that they're gonna be able to scatter and buy themselves a little bit of extra time to regroup as we enter the final minute of this game, where this could genuinely still go either way.
A really nasty kill on that shot to the Carbon. The Carbon ended up dying mid-rail, which is an unfortunate thing to see on the stream. Tidal Disruption ends up going 3 down in the moment now. Unlimited Woomy United is going to be taking that tower and trying to hold on to it as much as they possibly can. That's all they need to do is just hold on to the tower. They have a big enough lead to now, with 30 seconds remaining in the match, it is not looking good for Tidal Disruption, as Unlimited Woomy United just is holding the tower in mid, playing by their rules. They are going to be keeping Tidal Disruption at bay for as long as humanly possible now. With a little bit less than 10 seconds left on this match, it is looking like Tidal Disruption has to grab that tower now if they want to progress forward. But I hear that Ink that come out, and with the GG Booyah Bomb, it is not looking good for Tidal Disruption, as Unlimited Woomy United takes that second game of the set, bringing us to a well-deserved Game 3!
Yeah, Unlimited Woomy United does not want to go home just yet. They did not let their mistakes from the first game get to them, and they withstood it against the pressure from Tidal Disruption and able to close out the second game, meaning they're still alive for one more game, meaning we're going to be seeing our third game here against these two powerhouses. And man, oh man, if these last 2 games have been anything, I know this third game is going to be one for the books for both of these 2 teams, because they do not want to go home. They want to be able to be the ones to try and at least contest the grand victory here at the end of this tournament.
Absolutely. And like you said, we are on a tie game here. So whichever team wins this is going to be moving forward for a chance at the coveted bracket reset and a chance to get right back into grand finals. Let's see that head-to-head here. We have Ari and Z34 here with that, again, really similar KDR, but I do want to point out that special versus paint output there. That Z34 just seems to have a death grip on.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, the Commentator definitely paints a lot better than Carbon Roller, but the Carbon Roller's sole job is to get as many picks as you can. So it makes, looking at these stats, it does line up with what these 2 weapons want to do. But man, oh man, it's still very entertaining to see exactly how it all boils down to these two, specifically these 2 team members from both of their respective teams. I've been keeping an eye on it. They absolutely put in the work as just very highly aggressive frontliners, because they can absolutely just ruin game plans on a moment notice.
Absolutely. Let's take a look at the absolute midliner goat of Unlimited Woomy United, the Squelcher that we all know and love, a 2.69 KDR with 4 specials under the belt, as well as a really nice paint number, 1,111 points of paint. Like, you can't ask for a more perfect number than that to have on the player highlight, right?
Yeah, no, nothing. As a jet sculpture enjoyer myself, the paint, at least that's above 1,000, is definitely where you want to go. But no, heading to our third game counter pick from Tidal Disruption, we're just going to be seeing that we're going to be ending this set off Clamblitz, Barnacle, and Dime. It's a very, very contested map mode, to say the least. It's not as lockout heavy as it is for some of the other game modes here, but it is definitely an entertaining map mode nonetheless.
Absolutely. Clamblitz enjoyers rejoice now as we are going into Barnacle and Dime Clamblitz. This is going to be I am predicting that this is going to be an absolutely super fast set there. It's just, oh my god, we are going to go right into it. And speaking of the Jet Squelcher, we are going to be seeing the new Jet Squelcher on the side of Unlimited Woomy United, which, as you all know, is the aggressive Squelchy kit with a burst bombs and a triple ink strike at their disposal. They are out for blood.
Yeah, well, Jet Sculpture as a base standalone weapon is a mid to long range weapon. This new kit brings it to a just crude form midline weapon here with that special sub combination here. And already Unlimited Woomy United is showing that they can absolutely play this mid to close range game against Tidal Disruption, not giving them any breathing room. A 2 down from Unlimited Woomy United against Tidal Disruption 1 down. It is very hard try. Both these two teams are just going blow for blow and mid.
And Tidal Disruption does have a clam under their belt, and with the juggling, pops it into the basket like nobody's business. Unlimited Woomy United is starting to stagger a little bit as those clams begin to be thrown into that basket. CD Woomy now throwing clams out of the ring, just really in a bad spot because we see that decap take out that carbon. Just easy peasy. The bubble is going to be going up, and clams are still being funneled into that basket as we speak. We are now down to 50 points before Tidal Disruption wins this game, and clams are still coming. There's a power clam in the basket right now that brings us down to 30, and they are not done yet. But with 3 going down in the moment, it is not looking good for that push to continue. But oh my god, what a push that was, going from 100 to 24 in just a short amount of time. It is now Unlimited Woomy United's turn to do the same to them as they end up going 3 down.
A very masterfully played opening gambit by Tidal Disruption is now starting to fight them in the behinds as Unlimited Woomy United are very quick to recoup, very quick to get the clan from the other side, and are very quick to open up the Power Clan basket, taking the 64 points remaining, go 1 down from Tidal Disruption, 1 down from Unlimited Woomy United as they go through another 2 players down. The gap has been closed a little bit, but not quite enough to the standards of what they initially would like, as they're forced to recoup and recenter back in mid at the very least.
And it looks like the Cobra is forced to back out into that platform area where the midliners usually should be sitting. But again, the very, very good first push from Unlimited Woomy United. Not enough points to get that lead swap, but it looked like enough points to be able to, at least if they get another couple power clams in there, to be able to push it maybe even to the last couple of seconds of this match. Tidal Disruption now is looking not pretty good for the clam economy as Unlimited Woomy United has control of most of the clams in their possession. Axiom does end up going down at the moment here. As we can see, these two teams are just doing an absolute knife fight in mid. Paint flying everywhere, clams all over the place. It is a true hectic clam blitz match for both of these teams, as none of them really seem to have a clear advantage except for the clam economy. But as I say that, Tidal Disruption does end up taking their place on the bubble there on that platform, looking for another push.
That's a very volatile game state right now. Things can absolutely sway either side at a moment's notice here. A 1-point trade from both sides. Kraken coming out from Tidal Disruption, trying to clear the space. Juno going out on the deep end, trying to chase whoever they can find and whoever they can lay their hands on before finally dropping the special, and unfortunately getting picked out almost immediately, punished for such hardline aggression here. But it's constant back and forth trade, constant battling in mid here. I cannot understand enough how volatile this game is right now. It can generally swing either way, but it has to swing in one way soon, because Unlimited Woomy United has 1 minute remaining to try and swap that lead.
Woomy has control of the clam economy. They do end up going 2 down in the moment, though. 1 minute left on the match. 3 down on Wipeout on Unlimited Woomy United. Tidal Disruption is going to be taking those clams directly to that basket, popping a power clam, and they are making sure that Unlimited Woomy United does not get the chance to get anything else in, and they throw in the power clam. They just need 2 more clams in that basket, but they do end up wiping out. Less than a minute left on the clock. Unlimited Woomy United given the pity clam of their dreams as they happen to build another clam right now. It is looking kind of scary for a Tidal Disruption. If I were you, I would focus on the defense because Unlimited Woomy United has 19 clams in their possession. They are looking for the kill in this overtime.
Can we see history repeat itself with Tidal Disruption on the offending side of this time around? Unlimited Woomy United trying to do whatever they can to get a push going, but unfortunately 3 goes down in mid. The Decapitator and the Carbon Roller on a 1-for-1 duel, and a 1-for-1 trade is not what you want to see. The Power Clam is not active at the moment, with unfortunately being saved in the nick of time, being tossed around between the team flamers from Unlimited Woomy United. But Tidal Disruption is being able to counteract this.
Oh my God!
Get it open, but there's no follow-up. Tidal Disruption, although they let that power clam slip in the nick of time, nothing can be followed by Unlimited Woomy United as they unfortunately lose this game 3 and lose this set.
Oh, Unlimited Woomy United getting the power clam in at the last second, but no clams to back it up. What an unfortunate loss for them as they are going home. As we can see here, it is the fact that Tidal Disruption is going to be moving on up, looking for a chance at that again. Absolutely the thing you want in the losers bracket, the coveted shot at bracket reset and grand finals, because they are still in this game. But oh my god, an explosive, volatile, bloodthirsty match from both of these teams, just showing the pinnacle of their team gameplay to each other. But with a couple of unfortunate picks at the end, Unlimited Woomy United was unfortunately limited by their lack of players and clams in the basket.
Yeah, things were starting to look really good for Unlimited Woomy United at the very end there. They were starting to get a snowball going for their side in their favor, but Tidal Disruption stood their ground, kept their heads cool under the immense pressure that a potential overtime loss could have been, and managed to barely win out this game here. Then, man, oh man, what a showing these two teams brought, because Unlimited Woomy United definitely showed that they were brought here for a reason, but unfortunately could not close out this game against Tidal Disruption. But regardless of the outcome, both these two teams brought an amazing show nonetheless.
Absolutely. These two teams, again, really just earning their spot in the SAC season finals here, with Tidal Disruption taking the losers bracket once again under their belt. The tidal wave is on the way and looking for more bloodshed in the matches ahead. But with that, I unfortunately do have to tell you guys that our blog here on Under Pressure is up and done and dusted. We are going to be sending you guys over to, I believe, either Dapples or Splatoon Tourney. I cannot remember which one off the top of my head, but it's IPL. We're going to be sending you guys over to IPL here just shortly, but hold on a minute. Let us get our final goodbyes in here just a second. My name is Carney. You guys know me from mainly Under Pressure IPL. I also do stuff on Splatoon Tourney. I have a Blue Sky if you want to follow it, and I am potentially doing some more streaming stuff in the near future. So if you want to follow my Twitch at ethereal_carnival to get any updates for when I start going live, that would be much appreciated.
And as for me, you can find me at most social media websites at SPF Dark, where I just repost a bunch of random nonsense from time to time. But more often than not, you'll most likely hear my voice time and time again across the multiple organizations that are actually currently live right now, as I pretty much do work for anyone in at any time here. But no, as Carney just said here, we will be rating IPL in just a moment, so you guys can keep on top of the remainder of SAC and its grand finale here. And before we move, I want to give a quick shout out to Jorian, the voices in our head, for running this stream on this side at the very least. So yeah, good job, Jorian, for keeping with the madness today. But no, with that being said and done, don't go anywhere just yet. We'll be rating IPO for the remainder of our SAC 5 grand finale. So stay tuned and have fun.